these people, but you never know. Maybe somebody decides to stand at Sanctuary.
Yeah. All right. We do have a couple of Sank starts, actually.
Yeah, 2 Sank starts and 2 Link House starts. That's pretty cool.
Yep. And we got Bombs and Piece of Heart, so nothing particularly great in either opening location.
We've got one of our pennants in Eastern Palace, it looks like.
Oh boy. That means we got a bow. We're going to need to find a bow before we can finish this seed.
So it looks like Crystal 5 is Desert Palace, though I imagine the runners are hoping they'll not have to worry about Crystal 5 or 6.
Yeah, indeed. Though if I have to start dipping crystal dungeons, those are the first ones I'm going to do. You know, given the choice.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so not a whole lot just yet.
Yeah, at least for the runners that started in Link's house, those early bombs are actually quite handy for just guaranteeing that you can full clear Kakariko without any issue.
I think we had a misfired Houlihan room on Fred Coughlin's
And
stream.
yeah, it did look like that. I did see him jump into the water a bunch of times, but then he fell into the ferry hole instead of arriving in the Houlihan room.
Yeah, that's
why I was happy about that.
That's why I always go
like
into the cave above just in case, because I don't know where the actual line is.
Yeah, and I believe the setup actually also varies a bit based on how you move on the 2 screens leading up to it. So going into the cave is a very safe way of resetting things.
All right. So far, not a ton. I do think we found the power glove.
Yeah, it does look like it.
At least that's what it says on gamercal's screen. Nope.
That must have been a misclick in that case.
I am making that up. Excellent. So, bunch of money in the back of the tavern. Apparently we are robbing perfectly legitimate establishments today.
No, never mind. There's
the power glove.
Deep's hideout, so recitador must have picked it up, and it must have been just the misclick on one of the tracker spots.
Like the power glove found in the thieves' hideout, I believe we call that.
And I believe I just saw a fire rod in the chicken house.
Ho ho. I'm not sure what the chicken lady uses a fire rod for. Or is it ice?
I assume. Or if it's ice. Oh, it's ice. Huh. It's always hard to tell those apart from me. Here I was thinking she was making Kentucky Fried Chicken in her own house.
Yep, apparently freeze-dried chicken? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So we got Recitador doing the bomb farm, and we got gamercal picking up the hook shot in Blind's hut.
Ooh, it's a very nice find, and it's a pretty good weapon early on. Well, weapon.
I mean, it makes Mini Moldorm Cave easy. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's a lot more convenient than trying to bomb those. Good lord, those Mini Moldorms have some juke sometimes when you're bombing them.
They also occasionally juke the hook shot if you're firing from the left or right, so...
Yeah, true.
Which is why I tend to just bite the bullet and walk across.
Since I see a lot of people asking it in chats, MS Pedestal mode in this particular case means that the pedestal actually is the condition to win the game. The moment a runner pulls the pedestal, they will instantly be transported to the Triforce room and to the ending of the game.
Yep, so ladies and gentlemen, the pedestal hype index is a full-on 10 for this seed. It's required. 100%.
Yep, so this is the actual pedestal hype right here, people. The dream is very much alive.
Are we sure that was... Anyway, so We have a heart at the mushroom location. And we'll see people leaving the Kakariko village area pretty soon. We see Fred Coughlin finishing off the thieves' hideout and saving and quitting away. Back to Sanctuary.
Yeah, I imagine he's going for the back of escape right now with his power glove in hand.
Right.
Because he definitely doesn't need the money to reattempt to even try reattempting the Houlihan room now, because he's got well over 500 already.
Yeah. So the Houlihan opening is sort of a controversial opening. A lot of people think it's not great nowadays. I think it's great depending on the mode, right? So like for open mode tournament, probably not. But like in Key Sanity, I basically always do it.
Key Sanity, it's not a bad call. I'd say it wouldn't be a bad call in an entrance shuffled race either, because, well, finding reliable money is difficult in entrance randomizer, and there are actually quite a lot of shops in the game that you can just randomly walk into to buy some extra bombs.
All right, so Fred Coughlin is he about to sequence break to Death Mountain?
It's looking like it. He does have the hook shot and power glove, and with the hook shot in hand, you can explore quite a lot of the place.
Yep. Just need to be able to make your way through this cave in the dark, and with no sword, that's a non-trivial process. He is using the hook shot to kind of guide him around.
Yeah, hook shot is pretty good for that, but it's a little bit slower than
Speaking of something hookshot is good for.
Ooh. Let's see if gamercal gets
we've got
it.
the dam.
There we go.
There we go. So the dam, you can use the little glitch that allows you to shoot through moving blocks to grab that chest and pull the lever in one go.
It saves just a little bit of time. So
yeah.
EpikRainjer not quite managed to get the glitch right. He is at least smart enough to not try it a second time and just do it normally for the second go around, because, well, for tricks like these, it's often best to just try them once, and if you don't succeed, then just do it normally.
Oh, that is a J.
Repeatedly managing to get it wrong.
I was thinking EpikRainjer.
Oh, it might be.
I just realized it was a J. Okay, so EpikRainjer is probably correct. Hey, we got the Moon Pearl in the Mini Moldworm Cave. We know we're going to need that Moon Pearl because a couple of our pendant dungeons are going to be in the Dark World.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, it's also a very convenient place to find it, because I imagine we'll be seeing some fake flipper action a little bit with this amount of money and the Moon Pearl in hand.
And it looks like Fred Coughlin picked up the boots from the west side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's
either going to be from the Old Man or like Spectacle Rock Cave. I don't know if he went up there.
I think I saw him in Spectacle Rock Cave, and I don't think I saw him dashing at that time, so I think he picked it up there.
Well, all right then. We've also got the other Mini Moldworm Cave, otherwise known as the Paradox Cave, with 5 additional items.
Also, as chat is pointing out, apparently the Old Man actually had the boots this time. Must have been a runner before he retired.
Yeah, he's like, I can't put these to use anymore. I'm gonna need you to take them. I don't know where that came from. Anyway. So just a little bit of garbage there in the Ice Rod Cave. All 3 players, gamercal, recitador, and EpikRainjer, looking to go back and do the fake flipper glitch. It's a pretty good move on account of they have 500 rupees for Zora. They have the Moon Pearl, which allows them to access the Waterfall Cave. And they can also check the hobo while they're at it.
Yeah, it's definitely the call I'd make in this position.
More money up there on the floating island. Looks like we did get a boomerang for Fred Coughlin.
And he's about to check Spiral Cave, and with that probably finishes misadventures in Dead Mountain.
So recitador is the lone deviation here, deciding not to go to Hobo just yet, who once again hands out the cash. If you got that much money, what are you doing living under a bridge?
Yeah, he must be one of those people who's just really into saving their money. Oh my.
Oh my goodness.
That's the bow is an extremely good find, because we know it's required. It is the item needed for one of our 3 pendants.
That is a solid sequence break right there.
Yeah, because who knows where the flippers were hiding.
Yep. Now, of course, if it turns out swamp is required, you're going to have to get them anyway.
Yeah, but if not, they might have just saved themselves a bit of an item hand.
Yep. The fun part will be like ice is required, and they'll just fake flipper to that too.
Yep, I can certainly see all of them doing that. Because at this point, why do you even need flippers anyway if it's not swamp?
Alright, so big love from Zora and little love on the ledge, so that'll do it for the northeast corner. Fred Coughlin will be following in the footsteps of the remaining runners after the sequence break to Death Mountain.
That'll be interesting.
But he'll have the boots, so he could just dash over to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah,
he'll be making up some
and
time.
he could dash straight out of Ice Rod Cave and straight onto the water to continue dashing there if he so desires.
How does that work exactly?
You have to dash out while standing on the edge of the pits there, and then you have to jump down into the water. And for whatever reason, if you jump off facing down into the water, it'll just land you walking on the water. I'm not certain why it does that, but it is certainly a nice little thing.
Now, how do you set it up where it's like double saved so that you can get to the ledge?
That happens if you combine it with the regular fake flippers.
Oh, okay.
Like, it'll store that you've got that water walking stored, and then if you swim down the waterfall at Zora, it'll just land you on the water as if you jump down there. It's very interesting and weird.
Very interesting.
We also found out, by the way, by Recitador talking with Sajrala, that the green pendant is Pendant of Darkness.
Okay, so 2 different bow required dungeons, but they've got the bow, or at least Fred Coughlin will have it soon. So that's gonna be a good call.
That's a very good find for them.
Oh, Fred Coughlin not even going to Ice Rod Cave. He's just doing the fake flipper immediately.
Yeah, I can respect that, honestly. Like, with a game mode like this in particular, skipping things is less likely to hurt you, because you just need less items in general.
All right. So welcome to Eastern Palace, home of one of your pendants.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what else they find here.
Looks like they did find the cape.
It's interesting, actually, because especially for this game mode, you don't really expect it, but this might still be an Aghanim seed, I suppose. It all depends on what else they find.
Yeah, Aghanim required could happen. You do need to make it to the Dark World somehow, and if you can't find the hammer or the Titan's mitts, then that's how you gotta do it.
Yeah, I'm also unsurprised by, the 3 of our runners who didn't go to Dead Mountain immediately going to Eastern Palace at this point. That's, you have to do it at some point anyway with this seed, and you can fully clear it pretty easy.
Yep. Well, wow. There's the hammer.
Well, just makes it even more worth it. It also means that technically, if they're comfortable doing the dark rooms in there, they can also complete Tunnels of Darkness now.
Yep.
And it also basically removes Aghanim as a possible requirement for this seed.
Definitely rip Aghanim. If anybody was expecting an Aghanim tower, that's not happening. Also, if anyone is a fan of Ganon fights, that's not happening today either.
No, not today. At least not right now. If you do want to see Ganon fights, I'm pretty certain the mode will be running at 8 PM. Will be more to your fancy there.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so gamercal doing the dark rooms here in Eastern, or at least the lower dark rooms. The lower dark rooms are fairly doable. They're not that difficult. I even managed to pull it off without any sort of sword or anything to like help me out the other day. It was great.
Yeah. They're very much a case of just hold these directional buttons and you'll succeed.
That being said, the back dark room has been known to troll people, troll even some of our best runners.
Yeah. I can actually, in fact, on that note, I remember that being a pretty big thing in one of the races of Christus Owen and Eishnep 174 in the past. Let's see how these runners handle it. Looks like gamercal is going to clear out things a little bit and then shoot arrows to determine where the Igor is.
Yep, I believe he's found it and activated it. So there he goes. One key acquired, and now you can head to the back.
There's also some very smooth use of the hook shot to help navigate in the dark there. Just grab from a torch to the pot up there and then grab that pot. Very well played.
8-bit, I'm told that Ganon is actually E Honda in disguise, so yes, he's in this game. All right, so here we go. gamercal making his way to the Armos Knights. He'll be there shortly. I really got to figure out how to get those Igors down in one volley because I'm just bad.
Yeah, the trick to it a little bit is starting with one shot on one and then switching to the other before switching back to the first one. But even then, the actual sequence is tricky to pull off smoothly.
Right. So, a couple of shots from the Armos Knights and not managing to kill it before it enrages, but that is okay. And we have our first of 3 pendants.
Yep, he's 1/3 of the way to victory now, and he can actually dive into Dark World right now, and even off the clear Palace of Darkness, assuming he's comfortable with it right now, just to see where else things stand. Looks like he's saving and quitting.
Yep, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, even if he wants to do Palace of Darkness right now, it makes sense to just save and quit and quickly go south here to Hype Cave first.
Oh yeah, get that Hype Cave out of the way. I mean, he has everything he technically needs to finish Palace of Darkness.
Of course, the lamp would definitely be a handy little addition here.
And Swamp is the remaining one. So there we go. So gonna need those flippers.
Yeah, so much for that sequence break being complete. Does mean they're relatively close to actually being able to finish the seed already, though.
Yeah. You need the flippers. You need, well, they have the hook shot. You also need the mirror to get into Swamp.
Yeah, but still, that's only the flippers and the mirror still required from what we have right now, which is surprisingly little.
That being said, Swamp Palace is one of those dungeons that kind of sets you up for the potential of an all-dungeon seed.
Yeah, right? Definitely, because it is one of the only dungeons in the game that requires the mirror to actually, well, even get into, while most of the other dungeons you don't really need that mirror for. You might potentially need it for Tower of Hera or, you know, Desert, but...
Swamp has the distinct requirement of being the only dungeon that requires definitely the mirror, definitely the hook shot, and definitely the flippers. Now, the logic will say that Ice Palace requires the flippers as well.
Yeah, but, well, as we saw earlier, most people these days are pretty comfortable being at just pulling off fake flippers and don't really care if what Ice Palace thinks it needs.
Fake flippers is actually a pretty easy glitch to pull off, and there's a nice little setup if you're completely new at it. You can just like stand near the side, drop a bomb, and knock yourself back, and then you'll be at the right pixel. So you just jump off and start going left or right, whichever way the exit is.
Yeah, that's actually a very smooth setup for it, and I definitely recommend if you're not comfortable with the usual pixel finagling to actually get in the correct position, that you just try that instead, because it will save you a significant amount of time to just bomb yourself into the edge of the screen.
All right, so gamercal is in Palace of Darkness, finds the big key. So if you got here without the bow, you would be able to just kind of know that this is completely off limits.
Interestingly, this does offer the option. I doubt he'll take it, don't get me wrong, but this does offer the option of just going straight to Helmasaur in all likelihood and then just deciding that, yep, you know what, I'm done with this dungeon, I'm not going to bother with anything more in here.
That is a possibility. It seems a little ill-advised.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a very smart gamble with how many items Palace of Darkness tends to contain, but...
Yeah, you're going to want... I mean, really, all we're missing for Go mode here are the mirror and the flippers, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to note that due to where the bow was, we actually can't find the flippers in here.
Correct. The flippers will not be in pod, but the mirror could be. So I don't think you're gonna go through here without checking most of the chests. All right. So there's a couple small key, or a small key. No, that's two. Yeah. It's hard to tell the difference between a 2 and a 1 in the font this game uses.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, don't get me started on fonts. Recitador is heading to the Village of Outcasts area first. That's an interesting play. While EpikRainjer is heading into the Escape.
It's also an interesting option.
I am told that Bugnet just happened.
Oh my. Now they can actually defeat Academ should they choose to do so.
Yeah. So, I learned the other day, when you're in swordless mode, you actually need the Bugnet to kill Aghanim, especially Aghanim 2.
You can also do it with the hammer, technically, but the Bugnet is a lot easier. I also just saw that Recitador just found the lamp in Skullwoods, and the mirror.
And the mirror!
That's huge.
Whoa!
Those are both huge items to find here.
Skullwoods is the meme dungeon today. Right there. So we know that gamercal is not going to find anything he needs here in pod. Not a blame thing.
Absolutely. No, there is indeed completely nothing that could be found here that could be required to complete the seed at this point.
And that, to me, puts Recitador here at a pretty sizable advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
So he can just go in there, knock out pod. He can actually go mode pod if he knows what he's doing. Just get in there, go.
Yep.
Can't have the flippers there because the flippers were required to get the bow.
It'll be interesting to see if he realizes that.
And the entire dungeon is bow locked.
It'll be very interesting to see if he actually realizes that. Looks like we found the flutes in Palace of Darkness, I guess.
Really?
Well, I'm just going off chat reactions. I didn't see it myself, so...
We'll see. He'll probably switch his menu at some point. We'll know for sure.
And there's the book. That's also interesting.
So the book is over there. For sure.
So he's going to do this dark maze in the dark without a sword to guide him.
Yep.
That's pretty hardcore. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's non-trivially difficult. Oh, I just missed it.
He has to shuffle as well, so it's hard to tell with him just opening his menu.
Yep. He's gonna want to pull out the bombs at some point, I think.
The recitador is also making their way through Palace of Darkness right now, so depending on what they do, because as pointed out, he technically doesn't have to complete this dungeon, or at least look for items in this dungeon at this point, but that's the powder.
Ooh, powder! We're in business now. Magic powder, definitely my favorite item, not close.
It is such a nice, very helpful item in so many of the more difficult dungeons in here. So many fairies you can generate just through hidden anti-fairies everywhere. And looking at where gamercal is going, I do have a feeling that he does indeed have the flute.
Ooh, fcoughlin finds a sword. And EpikRainjer as well. So I'm guessing the flute did happen.
Yep, he definitely has the flute. There we go. And there's a moment of silence over. Gotta respect that team.
Yeah. If there is a time when there's not a lot of action going on and a flute activation is happening, I'll do a swag duck anthem, but right now I want to make sure that all the runners get the respect they deserve.
Yeah. It does look like recitador is opting to clear the Palace of Darkness of items.
We got fcoughlin checking the King's Tomb.
Yeah, he's checking all the locations nobody else is checking first, which is interesting. And it's been paying off pretty okay for him. Those boots and the sword that nobody else has.
Yep, that's very true. We are gonna want to see those flippers, though. The flippers are the real MVPs now.
Yeah, the flippers are the only item we still need at this point. So I imagine gamercal will be making their way into Skullwoods very shortly. Or he might be heading to the village of Outcast, I suppose. I think it's going to be a shame because he actually opted out of completing the rest of the Palace of Darkness for now, presumably until he finds a lamp or just has more items in general.
That's true. Let's see. So we've got the chest game with 50 rupees in it. So we'll see if EpikRainjer makes the play of just go moding pod here.
Maybe. It also looks like EpikRainjer picked up a sword as well, much like fcoughlin did earlier.
It was roughly at the same time as well. Had to dodge some murderdactyls up there, of course, but
yeah, that's always a problem in that cave.
Yeah, there's no way to avoid activating one of them, and that's the problem. So you're gonna want some way to deal with that. But yes, this, for those of you just joining us, this first seed, we're running 2 seeds back to back. We've got ourselves a double header, but the first seed is the 100% pedestal hype seed. It's in fact what is required to complete the game. You pull the Master Pez, Sword Pedestal, and you win. That's how it works.
Yep. In fact, you can actually go all the way to fisting Ganon, but he'll just taunt you and tell you that, you should really be completing your goals instead of bothering with him.
Quite true. So, in the entrance shuffle thing the other day, I learned a nice little trick. You can go to Ganon and die and end up in the Dark World.
Yeah, apparently that's not intended as part of the logic, by the way, from what I saw one of the developers of the ALTTP Randomizer talking about yesterday as well.
Interesting.
So it was technically a sequence break when people were doing it, but it didn't really change much in that seed anyway.
I didn't actually use it for sequencing, I just used it to shortcut occasionally.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. And we do actually find the fire rod this time in the caves out of the Haunted Grove.
So fire rod available, but we know that there's not going to be anything else there in Skull Woods. We found both the items there. Extremely important items.
It does, however, get us one step closer to the flippers being potentially in Total Rock.
Is it the Trinex Dream?
Yeah, that would be something, right? Like, we know it can't be Ganon's Tower at this point because of Ice Balance being crystal, but the rest of the world is still wide open for those flippers.
We would need the Cane of Samaria to make that happen.
Ah, yes.
And that's actually it. Well, and the Titan's Bits.
Yep.
Still,
that
whole thing about lifting dark rocks, overrated.
Yeah, it's a little bit important, I guess, maybe.
Alright, so Fred has picked up everything he needs. He knows that Pod does not have the flippers. Oh, wouldn't it be funny if the flippers were either here on the pyramid or over at Catfish?
It would be incredible if they were in one of those very simple yet oft overlooked locations.
Yep, because it's just kind of out there, and nobody would really want to go there.
Yeah.
So I think gamercal did that one on purpose.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I think
he counted his items.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to warp out of Thieves Town, but ended up being trolled a little bit by a fairy in a bottle that he picks up at some point, and then
the fairy in the bottle was in Sahasrah's closet.
Yeah,
there was no actual catching. It's just you got one earlier. I remember Zelda cereal.
There was Zelda cereal?
There was Zelda cereal.
Oh my, did it have little Triforces in it?
Something like that. It came in a box with 2 different ones. There was a Mario cereal and a Zelda cereal.
Oh my.
And yeah.
I mean, I guess it was the time period of the Zelda cartoon and everything too.
It was way back in the day. I don't even remember what it tasted like because I was like 3. I imagine today it tastes like expired cereal.
Yeah, me too. Possibly with a delightful cardboard taste.
All right, so gamercal gonna go pick up his sword.
Yeah, you can't blame him.
And why not? In case you have to go fight Mothula or something, because he hasn't been to Skull Woods yet.
Ooh, and that's an unfortunate death, and this time he no longer has any fairies.
Yep.
It looks like Fred is the first of our people in Balance of Darkness who just head straight to Helmasaur. Fred. Sorry, Fred being fcoughlin. Just to be clear now. Recitador is also fighting the Helmasaur King.
We're going to see gamercal pick up the boots.
Yep. It's going to be happy with that pickup, I imagine.
Oh!
Ooh, that's...
Does Recitador still have that fairy? He does. Good.
Good. I was really worried for him for a little bit because
So you do not want to die on Helmasaur King. That's a long time heading back. I mean, it's not as bad as a death to like Cold Stare, but it's pretty bad.
No, but it's still something you don't want to have to do. And he lands the second pendant, which is also the green pendant, so...
Oh, no, unfortunately, we know that it won't give him anything he wants.
No, it won't, actually. I was going to say maybe that will give the flippers, but then I thought for a little bit and I was like, no, wait a minute, everything in Balance of Darkness is locked by the flippers, technically, here. Because we found
so there's only
the Waterfall Fairy.
You know where I bet the flippers are? I bet they're in Agnes Cave.
Oh my. That would also be really cruel in, well, technically not being cruel at all according to the logic. Because nobody likes looking there.
All right, so off we go. gamercal gonna clear out that Paradox Cave. We see Recitador is about to take a very short trip into Swamp.
Yeah, he's gonna find out that he does in fact need the flippers for this. There is no way around it, actually. There is there's no way in no NMG around it.
So pedestal runs can generally take anywhere from I'm gonna say 45 minutes to 2.5 hours, depending on where things are. Though we're not gonna have a Ganon's Tower seed today, we know that for sure.
Yep.
So Recitador opened Swamp and then realized, wait a minute.
Yeah, I saw him hook-shotting the stairs for a little bit in frustration there.
Yeah. At least he didn't try to walk in, jump in the water, and then realize he can't get in. That's happened to me occasionally.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Had it before where I thought I was in go mode, and then I tried going into Swamp, and nope.
Yep. So that just goes to show you, even somebody as good as Dude can make silly mistakes.
Oh my, you give me too much honor.
I mean, you're top 4 in the secondary tournament. What can I say?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't like bragging in that regard.
That's okay. I'll do it for you. All right.
Okay, we don't have to eat a tap. This just the half piece. Let's see if Tower of Hera is holding out on our flippers.
Yep, very well could be. Oh, there's a piece of heart down there. if this is a small key, we're going to have some problems. Yep. Gamercal does not have either fire source, unfortunately. So Fred Coughlin, following in his footsteps, will be able to clear out Tower of Hera, and I'm guessing he probably will, or he'll at least until he finds the second item.
I see no reason not to.
But it does mean we get coffee break strats. Possibly. I don't know if he's going to coffee break or not. Looks like nope, maybe, yes, okay. So right now, Fred Coughlin is standing on top of one of the crystal switch blocks, which renders you invincible.
Yeah, he can just relax, have a bit of a break, calm his mind, contemplate where those flippers could possibly be hiding.
Blacksmith. Once we find the Titan's myths. Oh, magic bat. That's where it needs to be.
Good man, magic bat would also be a very good spot
which
for
is
it.
Which is where EpikRainjer is checking right now.
No, it can't be the magic bat because we found the powder in Palace of Darkness, I believe.
Oh, you're right. You are absolutely right. Big chest had the powder. Got a lot of people kind of ignoring the fact that the flippers couldn't be there, you know? I mean, in the heat of the moment, it's really hard to realize, oh, I can go mode this dungeon, it doesn't matter. And I think this is why Fred Coughlin just kind of held off on it.
Yeah. Makes sense, really. Also, I'm getting a request.
And there they are!
Oh
the flippers
God.
in Tower of Hera! We are go mode for Fred Coughlin.
Yep, he's gonna go straight to Palace of Darkness. Oh, not Palace of Darkness. Saying he's going to go straight to the Swamp Palace and finish off there, and then head towards the Pedestal. Doesn't have to check any other chests in there, though he might opt to just in case he finds the Master Sword to speed up the Argus fight a little bit.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst idea. Otherwise, menu boss time.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do menu boss, you could also do spins, like double spins.
I believe it comes down to roughly the same speed for island. It just depends on what you prefer doing. I usually prefer going for the spins just because menuing all the time gets old really quickly.
I think double spins is technically a little faster if you can pull it off. But, you know, I'm actually garbage at the game, so...
Actually hooking two of those puffballs without losing your spin in the process is more difficult than it looks.
Oh, I didn't even think about hooking two at the same time.
Ah.
Shows you what I know.
I believe with the Fighter's War, technically hooking two of them at once is the quickest method of doing it, but actually doing that is trickier than it looks.
And gamercal appears to have found the Titan's mitts.
No, oh dear.
I believe they may have been in Desert Palace.
It looks like might have been. Unless he just found it here in Aginas, but...
No, that was Big Love in Aginas.
Okay, well, it's gonna be unfortunate for him, because he's going to be led on a wild swag dark chase right here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also one of our runners who can't possibly realize that he... Oh wait, no, he should be able to realize that the flippers can't possibly be here, but I guess he's also still looking for the mirror, unlike the rest of our runners, because he never went into Skull Wars.
And there's the Master Sword. So we have a second sword upgrade in the Mire Shed. That's a nice consolation prize, I guess.
Yep, at least once he finally does get around to finding the flippers and getting to Argus, he'll have a relatively quick fight. Oh my, he's going to go into Misery Mire.
Whew. This does not bode well. And he hasn't been to Skullwoods. That's the real shame
Yeah,
here.
that's the big problem. Like, Skullwoods is the crystal dungeon to visit this seed, because it has both the lamp and the mirror. Both items are absolutely vital, and which should also just make it clear in his mind that these locations he's visiting right now just won't have anything at all.
And, you know, Skullwoods being sort of the meme play of version 26 and 27, where you're just like, go do them.
Yep. You know what they say, if you don't have to complete Skullwoods, it always has all the value, and in this case, because it's a crystal, it has all the value. And Fred also gets a lucky break and finds a Master Sword in the Swamp Palace, which will help a lot in Target's fight.
So it looks like EpikRainjer over here went into Tower of Hera, found the key, and left. He apparently did not want to do the basement.
Well,
he has access. Unlike gamercal, who just plain couldn't access the basement.
Yeah, it looks like Recitador, meanwhile, is going to soon find his flippers and B&Go mode as well.
Indeed. Now, we have no idea what other runners might have finished this already. You know, depending on how you did this seed, you might have been able to get all your items within just a few minutes.
Yeah, this was surprisingly quick. Potentially. Well, depends on how quickly you made the play into Skullwoods.
Oh, and it does look like Fred Coughlin did find a sword upgrade.
Yeah, he found one in the
was it the Waterfall Cave chest?
It wasn't the waterfall one, it's the room south of that with the two
south
chests,
of there?
You know
okay.
What I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the other sort of place I would probably check on the way to Argus.
Yeah, those are two very quick chests to check, and he got lucky there and found the Master Sword, which now nets him his final and third pendant of this match.
Yep, and so we will see Fred Coughlin making his way up to the pedestal and finishing off this seed, after which he will be loading up the second seed immediately afterwards. So, for those of you who are watching, you may see a little fuzziness or a little weirdness with Fred Coughlin's tracker while they get it set up for the second race. Just be okay with that, because this is not something we've done before, the back-to-back race.
Yeah. Yeah, after Fred pulls the Master Sword pedestal, he'll be moving on as a first runner to a Triforce Hunt seed, for which, with a total of 30 Triforces spread throughout the world, which he needs to find 20.
Mm-hmm. And Recitador picks up the big key for Hera, so he'll be picking up the flippers very shortly. While Fred Coughlin going to pull the pedestal. Dropping a couple of bombs.
There we go. And there's the Triforce room.
All right, so Fred Coughlin finishes the first seed with about 48 minutes and 8 seconds, and he's going to need to load the next seed as quickly as he can.
Looks like gamercal is finally making the play on Skullwoods.
Yep. I think this is the one. I think this is the one place where emulator players have an edge over console players. It takes a little while to load the next seed.
Definitely takes a bit.
Yeah, we have no idea who wins, who else is has completed the first seed yet, because we would only see someone completing the entire category.
Yep.
And we see Fred Coughlin picking up 300 rupees in Sanctuary. So the question is, does he still go for his Houlihan opener?
We'll have to see, but it
doesn't look like it.
Skipping it, yeah. Don't blame him, because, well, those 300 rupees are probably plenty.
And we see Fred Coughlin not checking the Lumberjack Cave. That is okay.
Yeah. Particularly in the Triforce Hunt mode, you might see it holds one of the 20 Triforces you need, but even knowing that doesn't really make that much of a difference.
Right. Triforce Hunt mode, I find in Triforce Hunt mode, you really, really, really just want to go for all the places with the highest item density as quickly as you can. Because you want to get as many possible Triforce pieces out of the way as you can at any given time. So Fred is heading down into Kakariko Village. I expect him to somehow acquire some bombs. I don't know how he's going to do it, possibly through a purchase. But as we stated, even without those bombs, he's going straight into Blind's hut, either hoping to pick some up or just saying, look, I got 4 chests I can open. Well, nope, he's proving me wrong. Purchases a green rupee from the bottle vendor.
Honestly surprised that he's checked a couple of locations here and hasn't found a single Triforce piece just yet.
There's some bombs in the back of the tavern. So now he's going to return to his originally scheduled route.
Yeah, and in between Blind's hut and the Triforce and the bottom of the well here, I think we'll be finding a first couple Triforce pieces very shortly.
So we see Recitador. Yeah, there's the first Triforce piece and the Power Glove and a B-Torp and a bomb upgrade. But we see Recitador heading into Swamp Palace to finish off the final pendant here. According to his tracker, he has no sword.
That's interesting. I do believe I didn't see him go up to Bumper Cave where one of the swords was hiding, so we might be in for a new boss for him.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you asking why Fred Coughlin is playing again, well, guess what? This is a back-to-back seed race, and we find the Cane of Samaria there in the well as the hammer.
Yeah, he's finding some nice things. He's actually just a moon pearl away from the Darkwood access already.
And there's another Triforce piece, so that's 2 out of 20.
He's already 10% done with the seed, if you think about it. He's a nice little parting gift for the merchant that scammed him of 99 of his rupees earlier.
So, the pedestal hype index of a Triforce Hunt seed is generally pretty low, but it can happen. You could have a Triforce piece on the pedestal, and I believe, at least the other day, we had one pedestal seed one Triforce seed where people finished it off with the pedestal.
Yeah, I do believe I saw people mention that. I didn't catch that one myself, sadly, but...
And there's the Cane of Brian.
Yeah,
sitting
we've
there.
got the canes already.
Yep. So Cane of Brian acquired. I think we need to do a sick kid check. Yep. And Sick Kid has a Triforce piece, so you definitely didn't want to forget that.
No. What is a sick kid doing with one of those, anyway?
I think the Triforce is made of kryptonite, and it's making him sick.
It also turns out that gamercal apparently picked up the silver arrows at some point.
Whoa.
I definitely didn't catch that.
Yeah, potentially in Mire or something like that while he was down there.
It'd be interesting to see when or if he decides to return to Tower of Hera, since he did check a location there already and cleared out most of that mountain in the process, so it might not be in the forefront of his mind.
I'm hoping that this is just a mistracked thing. Yeah. gamercal has the mirror as well. I was like, he's got the lamp but not the mirror? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got both.
That's good at least, because that's definitely one of the things he needs. He just needs to find those. He just needs to make his way into Hera and find those flippers.
Just a red rupee from Sahasrara, we find. And we've got Fred Coughlin on the second seed making the uncle check.
Yeah, making a play on the uncle straight into Hyrule Castle in this case because he has the hammer is a very good idea with Triforce Hunt mode in particular.
Seems like a plan. Did he do back of escape? Because I feel like that's a thing he would have done.
I actually have no idea if he did it or not.
Yeah.
Seems
I mean,
like
if not, he can pick that up later.
He might have skipped it until later.
Yeah. I mean, if he's going to end up doing, like, dark escape, he could finish it off with that if he finds a key or something.
Oh,
so
no.
it's...
Oh no, poor recitador.
Oh no!
Dead to Argus, it looks like, trying to hammer him in the final phase.
Oh.
He has to make his way back through Swamp Palace a second time.
Gotta be careful with Menu Boss.
This is all... Yeah, at least he knows this is all he has to do to finish the seed at this point.
So one thing I recommend if you're going to fight Argus with Menu Boss, and you're not particularly, good, like someone I know, like myself, you might consider only pulling the puffs from the left or right.
Yeah, that is definitely a good idea.
If you pull them from below, above is probably fine too, but if you pull them from below and you don't move, you will get hurt. It will do damage. You don't need any sword upgrades to pull the pedestal. All you need is 3 pendants.
No, Cal, please, no. It was so close. This isn't where you want to go, man. Oh, no. I was hoping for a bit that he'd just mirror into Hera straight after checking Dark Dead Mountain, but looks like he's opting for Spike Cave instead.
Yeah, well, I figure he saves and quits out of here and then does the same thing, goes to Hera.
I'd hope so.
He just picked up half magic. He could have walked right out.
Yeah, let's see what he does now.
So Recitador is actually checking a couple of chests here, possibly. Gonna pick up that sword.
Might be happy with that sword, it'll help him a little bit.
Nope, gamercal is just completely piecing out, still not going to Hera. That's gonna be problematic. And we see a sword for Fred Coughlin.
Yeah, he's happy with that chest, but not with the other two, you can tell.
Yeah. He did also pick up a boomerang, I'm seeing.
Yeah, he picked that up in the chest near where the uncle is lying.
Oh. Are we being told that purple chest happened?
It did look to me like EpikRainjer was in fact doing the purple chest, so I don't think that's anything worthwhile.
Well, we're being told it was the cane.
Oh. Huh. Oh. Oh no, if he does actually have the cane, that's really unfortunate.
Which is him heading into Misery Mire. It's so sad that he didn't go to Hera.
Yeah, he was so close too. Like, he actually went into Hera, but then decided to not do the tile room because it took too long, and well, just goes to show that sometimes
this takes a lot longer clearing everything else.
Yeah.
We did see Fred Coughlin pick up a soggy Dorito. there from the dam.
Ugh. No, well, I can't argue with this. He needs 20 of those things, and I guess you can't be picky at that point.
Yeah. I mean, you're not required to eat them. You're just required to collect them.
That's true. That's true.
Red Coffin taking care of some mini Moldorms with some well-thrown bombs. Heading into this 5-chest cave, we find the lamp and a Dorito. And a hook shot and a blue mail. So the only thing that wasn't any good was the generous guy himself. And
I imagine we'll be seeing him go straight to Dead Mountain with those items found.
Oh yeah, and we see Fred Coughlin dropping a bomb on the generous guy for not being particularly generous.
It's been very free on bombing everything that hasn't been generous to him, which has been quite amusing to watch. And looks like Recitador is about to flee to Kakarika Village and pull the pedestal as well. Unless I missed something. Did he die again? I hope he didn't die again.
I think he died again.
Oh no. At least he's making the wise choice of stocking up on potions now, so that he will definitely be able to kill Argus on this third attempt.
Yep. The potions are what I like to call the get good juice.
It's always a good idea to buy potions. It costs a little bit of time to buy them, but it is significantly quicker than having to re-clear through entire areas once again.
Alright. So, nothing of significance from the old man for Fred Coughlin.
And I see the silver arrows were in fact hiding in Misery Maya. EpikRainjer just found them.
Yep. So yes, I say Dorito as a sort of affectionate nickname for a Triforce piece, but it is in fact Triforce pieces that we are looking for.
Yep, we need 20 of them in this case. They're just spread all over the world in all kinds of places, like you see one right there on top of Spectacle Rock.
Yep, unfortunately Fred Coughlin will not be able to pick that up just yet. Need the mirror for that.
Yeah, but he'll be definitely keeping it in mind. He'll be definitely keeping it in mind if he does find the mirror. As it's one thing that's very important this game mode. Actually, you do want to check those locations that you can't possibly reach, because you might just find an item that'll, well, allow you to just go there and complete the seed at any time once you find enough other Triforce pieces. Oh no, gamercal just found the Cane of Samaria from the purple chest as well.
Yep.
At this point, I would not be at all surprised to see him make a play on Turtle Rock in the near future.
That would be unfortunate. And Fred Coughlin finds that Moon Pearl, and another Triforce piece, and a shovel.
Which might be another Triforce piece.
And some red goo. Fred Coughlin a little bit to the right on that bomb jump.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but at that point you just do what Fred is doing right now and just take the normal path.
Yeah, no reason to try it a second time. Would have taken you just as long to get back up the stairs and set it up again.
Exactly.
Yeah, the trick with that one is just get as far to the left as you possibly can, then get as far down as you possibly can, just drop the bomb. Like, there's no movement afterwards.
It looks like it's time for the rematch of Recitador versus Argus. Let's see if he pulls it off this time.
Yeah, it's not really the Argai that posed the major threat. It's Argus once he's jumping around.
Yeah, it is remarkably difficult to actually hit him with the hammer while he's doing that.
Yeah, and we do see that recitador has no magic right now, so the fire rod's not an option.
Yeah, thankfully he did buy some blue goo, so he can choose to
Right.
refill his magic if once he runs low on health and then switch to the fire rod.
Yeah, fire rod is pretty effective against Argus when you don't want to get right up next to him. Even more effective are the silver arrows, but that's a really hard shot to make.
Yeah. It is a one-hit kill, but I personally find it slower than the other methods just because my aim with the silver arrows is not good enough to hit Argus very quickly.
Yeah. It's really all about that timing.
Yeah. I just realized something that's going to make Turtle Rock more attractive for gamercal. He just finished Desert Paladin as one of the 5 and 6 crystals.
Oh no. Alright, Recitador's doing a pretty good job, and he's going to use that potion. I think he's one hit away from winning. And he's busting out the fire rod. There we go.
And there we go. He's going to pick up his final pendant and make his way to the Master Sword pedestal and then switch to the second seed of our race here.
And so the second of our featured runners today is finishing off the first seed. It's going to be about 17 minutes behind fcoughlin, I think, going into the next seed.
Yeah, that's a pretty big head start on Fred's part of a full featured races, at least.
And we see EpikRainjer finally making his way through Tower of Hera.
Yeah, I am feeling very sorry for gamercal right now. He was very close to it, and I think he would have actually gone into Hera had he just had a fire source.
Yeah, that does seem likely. But sometimes you go into a place like Tower of Hera, and you check that off in your head mentally like you've done it, and you haven't. I'm not saying that happens to anyone that I know.
Mm-hmm. Now we go, recitador pulling the pedestal. Soon be moving on to his next seed.
And we see Recitador finishing off the seed into the Triforce room. I mean, I think it technically ends when you enter the Triforce room, so you don't actually have to touch the Triforce.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like EpikRainjer found the flippers and wasn't at all pleased at the treasure chest containing it.
Indeed.
He definitely looks a little bit frustrated right now, but he is now in game mode and is about to make his way to Argus.
So we see fcoughlin making his way through the Tower of Hera using coffee break strats once again, because apparently there's an item in the basement, and it could be a Triforce piece.
Yep. Especially right now, you do not want to skip that.
It's just a piece of heart, though. It's a piece of something, not the Triforce.
That's unfortunate.
Equally unfortunate, no mirror. So he's having to walk all the way out. Alright, so we see Recitador heading through, starting off the second seed.
Yeah,
in a similar manner to that of Fred.
Before. We'll be happy to find the bombs in the back of the bar, if I remember correctly.
Yep. I've been known to set up some tree poles early on just to see if I can get some bombs.
It's definitely not a bad idea, and the area around here is actually really convenient for setting those up.
Alright, so Fred Coughlin making his way through Spiral Cave using the ever so slow non-boot strats. And he does find the Master Sword.
That's not a bad find. It's probably not particularly a quiet find in this particular mode, but you never say no to getting a sword upgrade.
Yep. Unless you're Tear.
Yeah, if Tear could get away with it, if he doesn't need a sword, he'd get it eaten by a picket, I think.
Seems good. Alright, so Fred Coughlin going to the Dark World using the semi-inconvenient portal. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it is a very item-rich location for him to visit right now.
So yeah, Recitador has started the second seed of this race. This is a 2 back-to-back seed race in 2 of the potentially shorter modes of this game.
Yeah, as shown by the fact that our first finish of the first seed was about 50 minutes in. Give or take a couple minutes there. And it does look like gamercal is finally going to make their way into Tower of Hera for the flippers.
Oh,
he is not going to be happy. But I am happy at least opted to go into Tower of Hera before making the Turtle Rock play.
Alright, we see the Bombos medallion in Skull Woods for Fred Coughlin.
He leaves a bomb behind, which is basically the same thing if you think about it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you take one Bombos out, leave one bomb. Seems right. Take a Bombos, leave a bomb. That's what it says on the little thing, right? That being said, that eventually might lead them to a ice palace without the fire rod scenario.
Ooh, that's always, well, I'll say interesting rather than fun.
I actually like ice palace without the fire rod because I'm bad at shooting the fire rod. Hey, and we find the magic powder.
Ooh, nice. Maybe the magic bats will have one of our Triforce pieces.
And those are both items we found in Skull Woods, so see ya, Mothula.
Does look like Fred is opting to continue going into Skull Woods further now.
Interesting. Did we see whether this was a crystal or pendant, or?
I didn't catch a map check if it happens. And we don't have Fred's sound, so we can't tell in that regard if it's.
Ooh, when he gets grabbed.
Ooh, and just a little bit short of finishing this room too. That's unfortunate.
I feel like Fred would not be grabbing this if he knew it wasn't, if the crystal wasn't important.
Yeah, definitely. He might be grabbing it if he might also just be grabbing it if it's a pendant, I guess.
If it's green. No, green is Eastern.
Yeah, but he might just be banking on a pedestal suit, though. Of course, in that case, I'm not certain why he'd be checking this particular chest.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. Oh, no. Perhaps he just didn't put Bombos and powder together.
Yeah, that might
come up
be
with
true.
2. It's nice to know I'm not the only one who has trouble with this room.
Oh, this room is terrible.
This room is some sort of unholy garbage fire.
Regardless, looks like EpikRainjer is also about to move on to the second seed of this particular match. He will also soon be hunting Triforces rather than hunting Pendants.
And we see gamercal is finally in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, he will definitely have the easiest time of all our runners with the Argus fight having the Tempered Sword.
Yeah, no chance of menu boss today. Just a single slash with the Tempered Sword will take down every single one of those puffballs. And I'm told if you know what you're doing, you can set up this, like, poke dash strat or something.
Yeah, I can do that with Tempered, or not Tempered, with the Butter Sword, but I haven't practiced doing that with the Tempered Sword yet. But the actual enemy Jiren does actually consistently poke all the puffs in a row and kills them extremely quickly because of it.
Fred Coughlin finds the flute.
Yeah, it's a nice find. It's a shame he doesn't have the mirror though to just be able to immediately free the duck here, but maybe he'll find that soon.
And we find a Dorito at the chest game. That brings us to a total of what appears to be 8.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll be seeing him make a play in Thieves Town shortly.
Yep, so Thieves Town, one of those very high chest concentration locations. Seems like the sort of place you want to go. I mean, even if I didn't have the hammer, I'd probably go in here. Just because so many chests, I need Triforce pieces. Let's go.
Yeah, and if you do happen to miss out on that one chest and it contains a Triforce piece, there's 10 Triforce pieces in total to spare that you don't actually need for this seed, so it's not too big a deal if you leave behind one item somewhere.
So Arcandis, very important point there about why does the Triforce have more than 3 pieces? Well, if you remember in Zelda 1, Zelda actually separated the Triforce of Wisdom into 8 pieces. Well, here we've separated it into like 30. And you only need 2/3 of it. Don't know why.
It's bad enough. It's close enough, I guess. It's like, well, this is like enough of a Triforce of Wisdom. Or maybe it's... I think I've got it, actually. It's because it's a Triforce of Courage, and you have to have some real courage to present only 2/3 of a Triforce as a complete one.
Speaking of courage, we've got the Titan's Mitts. I'm not sure how that pertains to courage, but there you go.
Exactly. Gotta have the courage to lift a really heavy rock over your head.
Yep.
And there we go. All 4 of our runners will soon be in the second seed of this particular matchup.
Indeed. So if you like Triforces, and you're a huge nerd, I recommend looking into a fractal called the Sierpinski Gasket or the Sierpinski Triangle.
Yes.
It's a lot of Triforces.
That is a lot of Triforces. I know exactly which one you mean. It's pretty gorgeous to look at, too.
All right, so gamercal finishes off the first seed, heading into the second. And we see Fred Coughlin go through Grasshopper Alley to pick up a compass here in Thieves Town.
Yeah, not really the most fantastic advice. The consistency with which he is bombing these things that he doesn't like is amazing. The fact that he keeps finding enough bombs for it is just astounding to me.
Yeah, pretty good. I I hope he doesn't run out of bombs trying to do that at some point. That would be unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we see Fred Coughlin heading into the basement.
It'll be interesting to see if, since he's so far in, whether he'll opt to actually clear blind or not, if blind turns out to have the map or compass. Or, well, in this case, the map, since we found the compass just now I think about it.
And there are those flippers in the maiden's chest.
Yeah, he'll be happy to find those, because now he can clear swamp. Wait a minute.
Yeah. But he can go to Ice Palace now.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, speaking of Dorito in the big chest.
There we go. I think, unless I missed it, I think that might mean the map is on blind.
Yeah, I think so. Don't hold me to it.
Well, we'll find out in a minute. It might just turn out to be, well, he might just be clearing this because it doesn't take particularly long and he's in the area anyway.
So, another interesting facet of this particular race with multiple seeds back to back is, I don't know about you, but if I do something back to back, I tend to get confused.
Well, I was blatantly wrong about the map being on blind, by the way.
Oh yeah, because we've got boots. And if you recall, there was a Dorito on the library.
Yep. I just saw it, in fact.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't cheat and look at the screen like a second ago. I totally remembered that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I do know what you mean about doing seats or whatever back to back, and it's confusing the two in your mind.
All right, so Fred Coughlin going to start digging. Anywhere between 1 and 30 digs for some sort of item. What do we have? I think Fred's going to say hi to us again.
Yeah, I do love him digging out the high pattern before just doing the rest of the digs. Does take a little bit to do, but he's confident in getting enough digs in the time he has allotted to him anyway.
And there it is. We've got a bomb upgrade after 21 digs.
I think he's going to quickly go back and show his appreciation to the fender there. Yep, there we go. Lovely.
Little explosive for Alec Baldwin today. It's like, put the shovel down.
Just
shovels
wonderful.
are for closers only. Sorry.
It's just wonderful.
And we've got the Quake medallion.
Yeah, we're about to. We're also doing a little bit of a froggy world tour here. Probably going to check Hype Cave and then save and quit out, I imagine.
That seems entirely reasonable. Then we might have ourselves a swag duck rescue.
Mm-hmm.
I think I may have time to do just the little classic swag duck song.
That'll be lovely. I will definitely leave it to you if you do that.
We've got a Dorito from the Hype Cave Man. We just call him the Hype Man?
Sure. Makes sense. We've also got a Tempered Sword in there, which is also quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Fred Coughlin's basically the Oprah of bombs today.
Yeah.
You get a bomb. You get a bomb. Everybody gets a bomb. And we see Fred Coughlin heading to King's Tomb, I think.
Yep, dragging the dwarf along with him.
Just a 5 upgrade. Arrows, that is.
You never know when you need those arrows. Actually, you do know when you need those arrows. You never need them.
Might have to go kill Helmosaur or something. Or go to Armos Knights. Probably don't need to go to Ganon.
Probably not now. I mean, you might want to pay him a visit if you bring it that far that you've got all the crystals and still haven't gotten all the Triforce pieces, but I doubt I doubt he has anything particular to play. Sorry.
Alright, so we're going to see the smith get turned in real fast. After the magic bat check, which is a perfectly valid order to do things in.
He's really showing this blacksmith all over the world of Hyrule.
And expressing his frustration at the bat. That actually does run him out of bombs, so I hope he doesn't need any more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for the Triforce Hunt seed, all you got to do is find 20 of the 30 Triforce pieces, and it immediately teleports you to the end.
And we've got the net from the blacksmiths.
Yeah. Bit of a deviation from their typical craftsmanship, but, you know,
I guess they figured
solid craftsmanship nonetheless.
I guess they figured he already had a tempered sword, so he needed the other weapon capable of defeating evil wizards.
And here's the important part. Fred Coughlin we see going to pick up more bombs.
I'm certain he'll use them very wisely.
And at this time, if everyone would please rise. I am the duck of swag. I cause a little lag. But you've got this in the bag, 'cause you set me free. And if you should forget all the things you have left, well, here's your best bet. Just flute to 3.
And wonderfully done as always.
There we go. So, with Fred Coughlin picking up that flute, he's going to be able to get around Hyrule a lot faster, and he heads for the Misery Mire area.
Yeah, it makes sense, I guess. There's a couple of chests you can check just right here. You can figure out what the Mire Medallion is. And we get a map check. I saw Pendant, Tilt Rock, and I believe I saw one of the red crystals at Palace of Darkness.
So for those of you who are asking, if you try to defeat Ganon, it won't work. When you've got a goal like Triforce Hunt, or any goal for that matter, if you've not completed the requirements for that goal, Ganon will become invulnerable in Phase 4.
Yep, he will in fact also, and he will also gently remind you that you should be focusing on completing your goal and not defeating him.
I believe Ganon listened till Ganon is correct. So if you fall down, you haven't completed the goal, he will say, you cannot defeat me until you've completed your goal. And if you get to Phase 4, he won't even give you the hint for the silvers. He's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So Fred Coughlin is heading into Misery Mire. Looks like he will be able to complete this dungeon without much issue. Assuming he wants to, that is. He may just find the 2 items and peace out.
Yeah, I doubt he'll bother completing the dungeon once he finds the 2 items.
It looks like it is a 5-6 crystal, so maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Because, you could have, some number of Triforce pieces at the Pyramid Fairy.
Up to 2. Could be worth it.
So Fred Coughlin is far ahead of the rest because he made the right calls in the first seed. He went into Tower of Hera, picked up those flippers, and that allowed him to get into Swamp rather quickly. I mean, did he also go mode pod? I think he might have done that.
He did get. He was the only runner on stream that go mode at pod, just because he must have realized that there couldn't be anything important in there with the items he had already.
Right. So that's why, if you're going to do sequence breaks, it's very important that you keep in mind what was blocking your sequence breaks, and use that knowledge to your advantage.
No, it's so far outside of that 1 Triforce piece so far. It doesn't seem like my eyes had anything much, and I believe we might have found Big Key in its vanilla location.
Well, I'm not sure that. Yeah. That's why you're saying it. I'm like, he hasn't gone there yet. Oh, right, because he hasn't found the Big Key yet.
Yep.
Fred Coughlin doing everything he can to avoid having to go to the vanilla Big Key location, but unfortunately, he's got to do it.
Yep. Honestly, at this point, I'd wonder if somebody who's very experienced in this particular game mode would just consider leaving the dungeon entirely and just looking elsewhere for something that's quicker to check, but
it's possible. But again, there's that 5-6 crystal, so it might be looming in the back of his head.
That's definitely true. And yep, that's that Big Key.
Alright, so if I had to guess, I'd say he'd probably go check the big chest before heading to Vitreous.
Yeah. Especially without the bow, you don't want to have to fight Vitreous if you don't have to.
I agree. That's sort of a nightmare.
Does have the tempered sword, so that's kind of nice, I guess, but still not a particularly quick fight that way.
Yeah, tempered's okay. You can kind of spin your way into him.
It does look like the final item in Mire is in fact on Vitreous.
Yep. So Fred Coughlin is going for the Vitreous play, see what's there, and potentially pick up the 5-6 crystal for later.
He also has to be very careful because he's only on a single heart remaining, which with a lot of the enemies here is just 1 hit away.
But I think he's going to powder this pot. Yeah.
Very good choice there.
Yeah.
And yeah, extremely good choice there because he would have died right there had he not done so.
Yeah. One of the things I learned early on in this game is where the bunny beams and anti-fairies are so that I can, survive after taking all of the damage that I got from being bad.
Yeah, and that goes straight back to what we were saying earlier about the powdered book being one of the most valuable items in this game, especially in these harder dungeons, there are a ton of locations where you can get fairies with it.
All right, so we see Fred Coughlin heading toward Vitreous. We see Recitador activating the swag duck.
Recitador has made up a remarkable amount of time, all things considered.
Indeed.
Making very quick headway through this Triforce Hunt seed.
Alright, so Vitreous time. We're gonna see a bolus Vidi.
We're gonna see a boomerang Fitty?
It's like, does the boomerang do anything to Vitreous?
I don't think so, actually.
I didn't think so.
Curious why he's. I guess he switched to it out of habit. Expecting to find Bo in that, well, close in that position. He's taking a very interesting, somewhat careful approach to this fight. He's pulling it off extremely well.
That is very important. It's not an easy fight. I think 4 spins, maybe 6, would take down Vitreous.
I believe. Well, I think that was 6. Yeah. So.
And the mirror is on Vitreous, so hey,
that's actually
I gotta call that a good call, because first of all, the mirror actually locks a very large number of like single locations as well as Swamp Palace. So
he's also in a very convenient location to have the mirror actually, because he can just go straight into this palace from here.
Ooh, yeah. Also, Checkerboard Cave, which looks like what he's doing.
Yeah, it makes sense to go there first.
Oh yeah, and the mirror is definitely a Triforce piece, as being pointed out by the chat. There's one on Spectacle Rock, if you recall.
You are absolutely correct.
And we see gamercal meeting face to face with Trolldorm, doing what Trolldorm does best.
Yep.
Which is trolling. EpikRainjer doing the Fighter Sword Trolldorm fight, as well as gamercal.
Yeah, gamercal having some issues so far.
So EpikRainjer was doing the Fighter Sword Trolldorm fight, but using the hammer as well. Using the sword to sort of extend your hammer reach.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good strat, as long as you don't accidentally poke Moldor.
Yeah, it's also while you're holding out your sword, it's easier to get back on the platform should you happen to be knocked towards the edge of it.
Right. You get a little more traction that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh! gamercal getting hit by the ultimate troll.
I think it might have been on purpose, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think.
Oh, so he killed it and just bounced.
Picked up the item and then didn't want to watch the cutscene and wanted to do the basement.
That's actually entirely legit, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
Actually, a tiny little time save, I believe. It's very good of him to think of that.
Yep, I would have grabbed the silly thing like an idiot. So. We got Fred Coughlin heading in to fight Landmolas. Well, he did spend a while falling, but, I mean, he ended up right back at the door where if he'd grabbed the crystal, it's watching the cutscene, get put outside, then you have to walk back in and walk through the room, flicking the switches a couple times. I think it's a little faster to fall.
Yeah, it might. It's actually really difficult to say. I'm actually kind of curious. I kind of want to time it now to see which is actually quicker. Because it's kind of an interesting thing to consider for this mode in particular.
So, quick question, dude. Have you ever had to kill landmolars with just bombs?
No. Thankfully, I have managed to avoid that so far.
That's a fun experience.
Yeah.
Hey, and it's got a Triforce.
Nice. It's a good call again.
So we see Recitador is making the play on Eastern Palace. He can't actually complete it.
Yeah, but with the particulars of this game mode, it's not a bad call. You can probably get all the items in there. And red mail is nice.
Alright, so we're heading back to the vanilla big key chest. I feel like he just kind of walked by the big chest, so this might actually just be the big key. But I could be wrong.
I think I don't know.
There's a lot of action going on the screen. We have to keep track of a lot of things.
Everything. I'm guessing this is going to be the big key in its vanilla location since he walked past it, but...
Nope, I'm making that up. Alright.
Okay, I guess he must have checked it just and we both missed it.
So I guess that probably means there's something on Armos Knights. And there's definitely a green pendant on Armos Knights, which is another thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but chances are he won't have to actually revisit that.
So it looks like fcoughlin is making the play on Swamp Palace, which does in fact seem like a decent play to me.
It definitely seems to be to me too as well. It's got 6 items, I believe, in total. So 6 chances at a Triforce piece right now.
If you get like 18, you could go from 12 to 18 right here. That's a pretty big deal. See EpikRainjer making the play on Spike Cave.
Do you happen to remember if fcoughlin actually went back and grabbed the Triforce piece out of the library already when he was picking up his duck, or...? Because I want to say he didn't, but I'm not certain. If he didn't, he knows of at least 2 more Triforce pieces so far. So he's technically at 14 out of 20, so... Oh, never mind, that's that gone. I was wondering if he might just be in, well, effectively go mode if he finds all Triforce pieces here.
Well, we never... I mean, you don't always know everything. That's what we have our trackers for. Speaking of which, I haven't even talked about our trackers today. We've got 2 very, very good people tracking for us today.
Yep, we've got
B-Links
and GTN 2002 tracking for us today. They've been doing a wonderful job.
Excellent, especially going through 2 separate races.
It's having to manually reset every single thing tracked by hand after the race is finished.
I thought it was 10 out of 20 in easy mode.
It could be. I've barely done easy modes Triforce Hunt myself.
Easy mode Triforce Hunt is what I do when I'm trying to go to bed and I can't stop thinking. So I just do that and it's real easy and I feel good about myself.
Yeah, the one time I actually tried one of those, it finished in less than half an hour, so I was like, okay, that's interesting. I guess it's a quick little time waster.
I think my PB for easy mode Triforce is like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's very typical for the particular mode to be almost done already by the time you finish checking Kakariko Village.
The one thing I do recommend easy mode for is for anybody who is, just starting out and not used to all the things yet. You can play easy mode and make sure that you have all the tools you need to survive.
Yeah, because it's worth mentioning that at least for the most part, easy mode makes the game's gameplay easier, but you still have to. The actual figuring out the logic and such is just as complicated as on harder game mode. So it's a very good way of playing the randomizer if you're not too confident about your ability to, fight the game's combat normally. Definitely recommend it for anybody who wants to get into the randomizer but feels a little bit intimidated.
I'm not sure about that multiple lamps thing.
I don't know.
We see gamercal again. Did he get the other item in Skullwoods? I know he got the powder.
He also has the bomb boat medallion. So
yeah. So once again, opening that chest when both of the items are gone.
Must be force of habit.
Yeah.
Looks like, at least when it comes to Triforce pieces, Swamp Palace hasn't been all that generous to Fred so far.
Is the 3 lamps thing like a V27 thing? Because I didn't know it was a thing.
It might be. I'm not certain what easy mode changes exactly.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sidetracking.
Yeah, we've got a race here going on. Let's see what else Fred finds. He did find a big key just now in the waterfall room, so I imagine he's going to make his way up to the big chest in a little bit. Let's see if he avoids the weird bugged out staircase. He is setting up for it, I believe. Yeah, he is setting up for it correctly, so he should be avoiding it.
I believe the idea is you dash up the stairs, and then as you're going up, you hold the left button.
Yes, it's also the actual dashing you want to do is actually similar to how you can dash into a locked door without bonking into it. Like you want to be that specific distance away, which is why you saw him hugging the wall before dashing north.
That might explain why I didn't get it the other day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if anybody's intimidated by this, the easy mode will make it at least an easier time on you.
Yeah, it adds extra, like it makes it so that there's more locations when swords are, more locations when mail upgrades are, and all that kind of stuff. That will help make the game's combat a lot easier for you to do. So you're much less likely than you occasionally see on the daily races here to have to do something like fight a sword Vitrius or anything like that.
All right, so we've got Fred Coughlin heading in to fight Argus.
Yeah, this time with a tempered sword, which is a lot. I imagine he's happy to have that as opposed to sword this time, because it does speed things up significantly.
Yep. He doesn't have the fire rod, so we can't do like the really quick kill strats here. But a couple of spins will take down Argus proper.
Yeah, 2 spins should be it. There we go. And it looks like Swamp Palace actually gave absolutely no Triforce pieces at all. It's very unlucky for him.
Well, did he skip left side?
I don't think so.
Huh.
He's certainly not going back for it, and he's been very thorough so far, so...
That's really unfortunate. 6 locations, and none of them have Triforce pieces. Though I have been told that Swamp Palace tends to be low progression percent in general. So perhaps.
I don't know.
I'm guessing we found ether in there, maybe?
Maybe.
Or was that somewhere else? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I'm a bad commentator.
No, he must have found ether already, considering he did Mystery Maya earlier.
Oh yeah, you're right. That was ether. I have a brain cell.
I mean, it's weird to do 2 of these back-to-back, 2 different races back-to-back. Like, the time we've been taking so far isn't that much longer than a race would normally take, but two completely different seats is still a very weird thing.
We see Fred Coughlin doing the fake flipper setup as he jumps off the hobo bridge at the exact right pixel.
Yeah, that's also definitely a force of habit thing. I find myself doing that all the time too, even if I have flippers.
Yep. It was not too long ago that the fake flipper from hobo was considered a very rare occasion.
Yeah, if you think back to the spring tournament, you'd basically never see anybody even attempt doing it.
It's actually not particularly difficult to pull off.
I believe one difference.
As long as you,
that people used to use a different setup for it, which has a risk of soft locking, while the current method people mostly use for it doesn't have that risk associated with it anymore.
Basically, you want to make sure that if you're going to mess it up low, not high.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can pull that off, you're fine. I have seen one person do the soft lock, but that's okay.
Yeah, it does happen. Let's see whether Sora is actually important this time around.
Doesn't look like it.
No, Zora is still his usual self and he gets the bomb back.
Yep, we definitely see Fred Coughlin continuing his murderous bombing rampage.
Yeah, I'm still impressed with how consistent he has been at bombing basically everything in the game after he checked it, and it hasn't given him a Triforce piece. Or an important progression item.
Alright, so where do we think Fred is headed next? He's going up Death Mountain. I guess he might be heading to Dark Death Mountain?
I want to say he already had the opportunity to check Dark Death Mountain, but he is in a very good position to check most of the items, or at least some of the items in Turtle Rock right now.
Yeah, T-Rock is a possibility.
While he's up here, he could also pick up that Triforce piece on Spectacle Rock.
There is that. Yeah, Gan's Tower has a big key, several small keys.
I want to say it's like 5 or 6 small keys.
Yeah, and then you've got a map and a compass, and then at least like 5 junk items that it throws in there, just based on the logic.
And he is actually opening up Turtle Rock, so he might be going in there.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising, as you're only really guaranteed 1 location.
Yeah, he might just be bang. At least if it is.
All right. Okay, so he's heading over to the hookshot cave and such. Yeah, I think it was Recitador who checked this.
You are probably correct on that one. I know I saw somebody checking in here, but I thought Fred might have as well. But I guess not. On the notes, Recitador has actually caught up on the Triforce count. They are both him and Fred are actually on 12 out of 20 already.
So that's an That's looking pretty good for Recitador.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to pick up the mirror from Vitreous, assuming he goes to actually fight Vitreous.
Yeah, I could definitely see him just skipping Vitreous, and so far the mirror hasn't given Fred much. Obviously, there's that one guaranteed Triforce piece over on Spectacle Rock, but...
Yeah. There are a couple of like overworld locations that have also not been checked.
Mm-hmm.
The Haunted Grove Cave, the Graveyard Ledge, places like that that require the mirror. And we see Fred Coughlin, while he's here, he's going to check that one chest that he can get to in Turtle Rock and potentially head on.
Yeah,
if he gets like nothing but small keys and a big key along the way, he can make it all the way to Laser Bridge.
Yep, that's definitely a possibility. And in this particular case, I have to wonder if that's lucky or unlucky. I mean, it all depends on what the items are on the Laser Bridge, I suppose, but...
And we've got the big key, so that will do it immediately. And so I think Fred will now be heading to pick up that Spectacle Rock piece. Perhaps check Spike Cave while he's over here.
Mm-hmm. Certainly makes sense. We did see one of the other runners check Spike Cave earlier, and I believe it was just something unimportant at the end, but while you're in the area, it definitely makes sense to quickly check it.
I do believe Spike Cave was complete garbage. And we see EpikRainjer picking up his 10th Triforce piece.
Yep, gamercal is also already caught up to 10 Triforce pieces, so it's actually getting fairly close, despite the wild disparity in starting times for these four runners on this particular seed.
Yep, but that tends to be the case with Triforce pieces. You find a lot early on, and then you start they start drying up rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
EpikRainjer picking up that bug net from the Smiths.
Falco Buster in this particular case, it's actually because without the fire rolls, he can't do anything else in Turtle Rock.
Alright, so it looks like Fred Coughlin is going to make the play on Pod and Eastern. We know Eastern wasn't finishable.
Yeah,
and
I don't believe in the areas that were visited that it had a Triforce piece, but maybe Palace of Darkness will be more generous.
Recitador takes a death on Vitreous.
Oh no.
That is a unfortunate death.
It does look like he's going straight back for a rematch there.
Yep. So yeah, one thing you gotta realize is that Vitreous, I mean, you've got red mail, sure, but Vitreous still hits like a truck.
Yes, I believe even with red mail, you still take 2 hearts of damage from pretty much anything Vitreous does to you.
Yeah. I think maybe the lightning would do less at that point, but
yeah,
I could be
getting
wrong.
Bodied by eyeballs, big or small, will just do 2 hearts, I believe.
Indeed. And the unfortunate part about this is Recitador never picked up the magic powder from Skull Woods.
Oh, so he doesn't have the easy way to refill his health that Fred did. That's really unfortunate, because that was very handy for Fred when he was clearing through Mr. Maya.
Alright, so lightning apparently has no damage reduction.
So, yeah, that's been... Ow. That's really rough, actually.
So EpikRainjer will be making his way into Misery Mire. He'll pick up 1 Triforce piece and potentially 1 mirror.
And looking at the fact that fcoughlin just immediately left Palace of Darkness after checking a single chest, I didn't quite catch what it was, but it must not have been a small key because, well...
I was going to ask, did Fred Coughlin even go into pod? Because I completely missed it, but...
Yeah, he definitely went in there, but he immediately left, so I guess he's probably locked out of there. It's actually interesting, because he's actually running fairly low on occasions he could check. I guess he'll be going to Ice Palace next after this, then.
There is that Ice Palace play. You remember what I said about Ice Palace without Fire Rod? That's what I think of whenever I see Bombos.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be heading that way. Yeah, it looks like Recitador is doing a lot better against Vitrius this time. He made very good use of a red potion he picked up before. Just onto the big eyeball now, and if he's smart, he'll just stay here and mash the sword button. It's perfectly safe, if not quite as quick as some of the other methods are.
Yep, I like it. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, I believe it'll take 12 swings. But...
If it takes 6 spins, then it'll be 12 swings. And we've got the mirror for Recitador. Oh, I did not even realize I was making the pun. And thank you for the bits there.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. Thank you very much, Julian Berlin.
Alright, so all of our runners now have set foot in Misery Mire. See Fred Coughlin making the Ice Rod Cave check.
Yeah, it's, he once again didn't check this immediately, and finding the flute later and actually at the boots now, with the flute and boots now, he definitely saved some time by not slowly walking up here. I imagine he'll be following this up with the Ice Palace play you mentioned earlier.
Yep, Ice Palace seems like it right now.
I'm pretty certain there's basically nothing else left.
And we see the Ice Palace play. You know what I wanted to see Fred do right there? Waste about a minute, but go into the fairy cave, get a, quote, bomb upgrade, which would fill up his bombs.
And, oh dear, he used bomb boats too early.
Oh no. And now he's low on magic.
Yeah. I guess he's going to make a quick pit stop at the witch to refill his magic and then go back in.
But yeah, for those of you who don't know, the fairy will still accept your rupees in this game. You won't get a full bomb upgrade, but it will increase it by 1. If you throw in 100 rupees and ask for bombs, you'll increase your capacity by 1. And it will fill them up. That's the important part.
Huh. No, I don't think I've ever taken the time to do so in the randomizer.
I did it once in Entrance Shuffle.
Ha.
Because it was the best way to get bombs.
That's amazing. Those are really unfortunate.
Oh, they're taking it out in 28? That makes me sad. Are they still going to make it where it refills it?
And yeah, Fat Man's Panda was actually mentioning the luck messages you get from the fairy do actually have an in-game effect. I believe they guarantee drops for the next couple of enemies based on how good the message is.
Huh.
It's one of those things that doesn't really come into play much, but it's interesting to know.
Sad day. Anyway. So we see Fred Coughlin making the play on Ice Palace.
Yep. So far, nothing in that first chest, and it'll be a while before we see any other chests on the way this dungeon is laid out, but... yeah, I definitely would not have expected the Triforce piece counts to be this close together, but with the way the seed has been going, it actually makes a lot of sense if it turns out this way.
Mm-hmm. So we see Fred Coughlin do that nice little trick with the Stalfos falling from the ceiling, and he's not even going to do the Ice Palace bomb jump, which makes sense because we may not even have to go to Cold Stare.
Yeah, we may not have to go to Cold Stare, and he's going to be full clearing anyway, and has the Cane of Samaria. All of those things add up to there being a very little reason to actually do the bomb jump that you'd normally see.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason you do it right now is for swag purposes.
Mm-hmm.
So Fred is one of the developers for the Zelda 1 randomizer, right?
Yes, he is. He's, I believe, one of the primary developers on it, in fact. He does a lot of good work with that.
So, yeah, we've got randomizers for all sorts of Zelda games. We've got a Dorito in the Freezor room. Freezor. That's what those are called. How about I use my words and enunciate? There we go.
Yeah, there's a lot of different randomizers out there, in fact. Like there's one for there's public ones available for the first 3 Zelda games, Zelda 1, 2, and 3. This is Zelda 3, by the way. But there's also one in progress that's being worked on and fairly far in its development for Link's Awakening.
Oh yeah, and Link's Awakening DX randomizer. That's gonna be a real thing.
Yep, it's gonna be fun. Because that's also one of the very best Zelda games out there.
My question is, Oracle of Seasons and Ages randomizer when?
That would be something. I actually wonder how close those games are in technical aspects to Link's Awakening, because they are very similarly constructed.
Yeah, they're similar, I think. I think Nintendo gave Capcom access to their engine and just said, go.
Yep. And it's been, those are also wonderful games. Like, all the handheld Zelda games are actually really good. Oh, well, those handheld Zelda games are really good, I should say. There's some disagreement on how good the ones for the DS are.
Yeah. I liked playing Phantom Hourglass, but I never want to do it again.
Yeah. And I'm not going to speak of Spirit Tracks.
Anyway, so back to this race. This is the important part.
Yeah.
Sorry, I really got to stop distracting myself, and
it's okay. I'm definitely not helping either there.
which we call the iced tea room because it's in ice and it's kind of shaped like a T, except sideways.
Yeah, and I believe that might have been the third item in Ice Palace for Fred,
yep.
And he's just leaving right there, which makes sense. In this game mode, you do not expect Gannistal to be required, and they did find the fire rod in here, which will allow him to check more of the rock if he wants to, and I imagine he will.
Yep, so that fire rod in Ice Palace, always a trolley situation, because a lot of people expect you suspect that you need the fire rod, and you actually do not.
And I guess he's still under the impression there's more items in Skullwoods.
That's unfortunate. Because we know for a fact that both of those items have been found. Unless they change the item counts on me all of a sudden, there's only 2 items in Skull Woods. One of them was the Bombas Medallion, and the other one was the Magic Powder.
Yep. That's... oh well, we'll probably be seeing a quick modular kill on this part.
Now I know you're just messing with me, Fat Man's Panda. Just all the Ganon's Tower chests get moved to Skull Woods for no reason.
Yeah, it's Ganon's Woods now. Once you fall down that hole at the end, you just drop into the Ganon fight.
Oh, okay. Hey, I would take that over the Mothula fight. As long as the Ganon fight doesn't take place in the Mothula room, because that sounds awful.
It's still the modular room, so...
No!
Anyway, let's see him just wreck this mod in all likelihood.
Oh yeah, Tempered Sword, Fire Rod. You got everything you could possibly want. Red Mail. If only we could get Mothula away from those silly spikes at the top there.
There we go. Not particularly cooperative Mochila, but that's how it goes, and he does pick up his 5th crystal. It's interesting, and the reason why I suspect he actually thinks there's still an item in Skullwoods is because he didn't optically record down, which is also one of the crystals. But at this point, I actually wonder if it would have been productive for him to just do so with the assumption that he might have to just go into Ganon's Tower at some point.
Yeah, it's unlikely that Ganon's Tower is required, but possible. Especially given what we know so far. It's only got 14 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess with the fire rod is that the bow is in Turtle Rock.
It's very likely at this point, because we are once again in the position where there's very few locations left where we can actually find any kind of progression. And Turtle Rock is definitely one of those places. And at the same time, we also know that Turtle Rock cannot possibly contain enough... oh, wait, actually, I believe with the inclusion of Mimic Cave, Turtle Rock could potentially hold enough item locations to have all the remaining Triforce pieces, but
well, not if the bow's
rather unlikely.
If the bow's there, it's definitely not.
Mm-hmm. That's
and I'm saying the bow is definitely there. Just you know, it's not, but it might not be, but I'm gonna say it is. So, for those of you who are just joining us, MS Pedestal, that was the first seed we ran. It was the Master Sword Pedestal, so the idea is you have to go get the 3 pendants and go pull the Master Sword Pedestal. That's the entire run. And Fred Coughlin finished that run in about 49 minutes. Our other runners took a little over an hour. That's neither here nor there. But the second part of this run is a seed that is a Triforce hunt, where you got to find 20 of the 30 possible Triforce pieces. So this was a 2-part run, and it's the first time we've ever done something like this in the Daily Race series, and I'm a fan. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun to combine 2 of these shorter game modes together into one bigger race. I do believe that we'll be finishing in around roughly the same time as the previous races, the daily races have been. It does look like Fred is now making his way over to Turtle Rock. that wasn't the fastest of 2 races. It is in fact just 2 races back to back, with the time of both together being considered the total time it took.
All right, so we see Fred Coughlin heading back to Turtle Rock after the purple chest was checked and more bombs were dropped on innocent pickpockets. Lockpicks. That's the word I'm looking for.
Spits, yeah. Almost the same thing.
Yeah, they use picks.
Apart from it being completely different.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's potential thievery involved in both.
We'll be seeing the rest of Turtle Rock shortly. Well, I say shortly, but it's Turtle Rock, so it's actually going to take quite some time.
Yeah, we got a little bit of sort of auto-scrolling sections here. About as close as you get to auto-scrollers in this game.
Yeah. I don't know, I consider these bits kind of relaxing to do, honestly. But unless one of those jellyfish gets in the way in really annoying ways and knocks you off somehow.
I guess the tile rooms are probably closer to auto-scrollers.
Yeah, definitely. Because you're pretty much just waiting.
Yeah, you can speed it up a little bit by killing the last one before it comes after you. There's a Triforce piece and a small key, so we can finally proceed forward in Turtle Rock. I believe that means that the Chain Chomp room will also have a small key.
It actually looks like we have a first person that has finished the race. They are not on the stream, but Jet082 has finished in first place with an official time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 24 seconds.
Very nice.
That is a very nice time.
Guy known for generating rather fast seeds and gets it done rather quickly today. Pretty fitting, I guess.
Yep, definitely.
Alright, so Fred Coughlin making his way through Turtle Rock. We're going to see the Pokey and Bubble Anti-Fairy room here.
Yep.
This is a room where I usually have my powder out coming in because I'm just like, I'm going to get hit by those things.
Yep, that's quite a lot of potential fairies right there.
But Fred Coughlin gets through there real quick.
And even if you don't get hit by them...
Oh, and there's the bow!
Oh my!
The bow in the big chest, or the big key chest, excuse me, in Turtle Rock. I told you it was there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and then also immediately know what his next play is going to be after he's finished with Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, I could see him heading straight for Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, there is no
clear that
play
sucker
at this
out.
point.
And then if that doesn't get you all the Triforce pieces you need, you can go to Armos and finish them off.
Mm-hmm. If that still doesn't get you all the Triforce pieces you need, then, well, we've got a GT required seed, I believe. That's rather unlikely.
Yep. We also still don't have the Ice Rod, which is fun, so...
Yeah.
We probably...
In this particular merge, you're not too worried about actually defeating Trinex, to be honest.
Right. If we don't find it along the way, we will not be able to defeat Trinex, but we're okay with that. We'll just leave.
Thankfully for a potential GT required scenario, Trinex isn't actually required because this is one of the dependent dungeons.
Very true.
In fact, Fred is in a very good position for unlocking Ganon's tower right now, should he choose to do so. He has all the items required. And if this were a regular suit, he'd be in go mode right now.
Though it would be nice if could be that there's a Triforce piece on the pedestal, and you could just go grab that. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. We'll probably figure out by the credits what there was Triforce piece.
There's the ice rod.
Oh my! Well, how very convenient.
Well, convenient is a very strong word there. Most people would wait until the last possible minute before going to Turtle Rock when the ice rod is in there. And that's basically what Fred Coughlin did here.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see him going for Trinex now if it turns out Trinex still has an item.
Yep, we will have to make sure.
I don't see why it wouldn't, in fact.
So far we've had Triforce piece, 50 rupees, bow, and I think that's it. So 3 items.
That sounds about right, yeah.
And we're looking for 2 more.
So we're roughly at a 50-50 shot, I believe, of Trinex having an item. Because one of these is going to not... At least one of these is definitely going to be an item, and the other it might not be an item on this one more Triforce.
Alright, so we got a Triforce piece. And Fred Coughlin took that safety door for a reason, because we see him taking a fall on the laser skip.
Yeah, it was a very smart choice of him to do so.
Laser bridge is technically in the logic at the moment, because we have the Cane of Brian.
And it looks like we've actually had a second place finish happen by Gemini at 2 hours, 21 minutes and 52 seconds.
So well played to Gemini. And so Fred Coughlin will be making the play on Trinex.
Yeah, and quickly looking at this inventory, it's actually the map on Trinex, so I guess he's just completing it just in case he has to do the pedestal.
Oh, we found a piece of heart, apparently. I missed that one. No, we found 50 rupees.
Yeah, I guess with bow in hand, it does make sense for him to just quickly kill Trinex and possibly, like, now he can do Palace of Darkness into Eastern Palace into possibly the pedestal.
Yep. So yeah, we've got the map there. Gonna pick up the red pendant. And there we go. So the bow has been acquired. That means that Fred Coughlin will undoubtedly be making a beeline for the Mullet Mansion, Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and they call it that because it's big key in the front and everything else in the back.
Yeah, that's how it works.
That's definitely how it works, right?
Correct. All right. Fred gonna dash through, head back to Palace of Darkness. Let's be fair, this is probably a Triforce Hunt seed that has taken longer than most people are used to for Triforce Hunt seeds.
Yeah, I believe fcoughlin in particular has been added for nearly an hour and 30 minutes at this point.
Yeah. So this is one of those seeds where you've got a ton of potential trolling and it just all comes to hit you.
And in fact, as I mentioned earlier, he is if this were a regular seed, he would technically be in go mode at this point, which you don't often see in Triforce Hunt. You generally find all your pieces significantly before you would be in go mode in the regular randomizer.
Oh yeah, apparently there will be a race tomorrow of Triforce Hunt, and that will be 31 pieces and 30 of them required.
That's going to be fantastic.
I imagine that's done using the customized difficulty setting.
Yeah, it would have to be, but that's gonna be it's gonna be fun. And the actual little I do like the actual little detail of making it 31 pieces in which you need 30.
Yeah, so you've got the skill of potentially skipping one.
Yep.
If it happens to be, say, on the pedestal or some other dumb thing you don't want to do.
Yeah, but then it might turn out that pedestal one is just more convenient than any other ones. It's really,
very true.
It's going to be a really hard call to make, and it's going to be interesting to see how people compensate for that.
All right, so we see fcoughlin heading into the back of Pod, where we expect some amount of Triforce pieces.
Yeah, it would be extremely shocking if there were no Triforce pieces here at all.
Looked like fcoughlin was trying to set up the hammer jump there, didn't quite make it happen. That's okay. Hammer jump not really required. And we see our first shield of the run. And he did in fact get a Triforce piece in this chest he's going to walk by again. I missed it a little bit on the restream, but I see his number is now at 17.
Yep, he's almost done.
All right, so we head to the dark maze. We've got just the compass. One thing that is well known is you will never find a small key in the dark maze.
It's apparently something that's going to be worked on to make it possible in the randomizer as well eventually.
I think it should be possible when the hammer is in the big chest.
Mm-hmm. Because it's one of the only ways in which the randomizer currently couldn't possibly generate a vanilla seed just through sheer random chance, because the vanilla game does actually have a small key in that dark maze.
Right.
We also have our third place. We also
big chest. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say we just had our third place finish happen. Problems IRL has finished in third place at the time.
If Problems could be nicknamed Force, we could have Jet Force Gemini.
Anyway, Fred also found the book in there, so there's a couple of more locations he can actually check now, which might be potential Triforce pieces.
We do, in fact, have a book. So, fcoughlin at 18. We've got EpikRainjer at, I think that's still a 12.
It does look like a 12, yeah.
We've got 16 for Recitador and 13 for gamercal, as gamercal is going to make the play into Ice Palace.
And that's a good play to make, because that'll have the fire rod he'll need to progress into Turtle Rock.
Righto. And there it is, right there in the... what do you call that room? Like the H room?
You know, that is a very good question, and I don't think I have a proper name for it also for the H room. It seems
it's shaped like an H.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the IST room in the basement, so we might as well have the H room here as well. Just make it the alphabet dungeon.
Seems pretty good.
And, like, this room is also a U, so, you know, got all the letters. And the plus, that's also basically a letter.
Yeah. Except there's 2 pluses. Because the one that gamercal just went through.
Oh, yeah.
And is now in again. Oh, 15. I can't read numbers. Now it's 16. Alright, so we see Fred Coughlin finishing off Helmosaur King.
And touching some spikes, which you really shouldn't do, kids. Don't try none of them.
And there's a Triforce piece there on Helmosaur. So, if you're Fred Coughlin, what do you do next? Do you go kill Armos?
I'm not certain, actually. I'm actually not completely certain whether you ever picked up that Triforce piece on the library shelf.
It's like, do you kill Armos? Do you get, do you go check some of the book locations? Do you go to Fat Fairy? There's all sorts of things you can do. It looks like Fred Coughlin is just going to take off. Perhaps he hasn't done the bookshelf.
And it does look like he hasn't done the bookshelf, so he's about to get his victory.
All right, so Fred Coughlin will be finishing off this very soon. We had our 4th place finish from Monochi at 2:30:32. And we see Fred Coughlin finishing with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 4 seconds. Directly afterwards, we see Ack the Boker finishing with a 2:31:42. We will see if we're going to have Fred joining us. I don't know if he does, but we'll find out.
I just asked him, so we'll see.
There he is in the waiting room, so here we go. Hello, Fred Coughlin. Good GG.
Well, thank you guys. Crazy thing there.
Yeah, that was a crazy Triforce hunt.
Yeah, I've never seen one quite like that before.
In fact, this was going exactly the opposite way I was expecting it to go.
Yeah, I was expecting the pedestal to be the hard one, and then, hoping that, okay, triangle, 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 and they just decided after around 10 or 11 to just stop.
Yeah.
And they just dried right up.
Yeah, instead you had a very quick pedestal seed and then a very slow Triforce hunt. It's interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I had 10 triangles at the hour 23 mark, so it took me the last hour and 8 minutes, it looks like, to get just another 10 triangles.
Yep. I mean, it didn't help that, the bow was sitting there in T-Rock, and the fire rod was in Ice Palace, which is the last place you expect the fire rod.
Yeah, so I mean, still kind of, I could see the difference between, the top finishers and me there on just the fact that I went on the Meyer gamble, and that it got me a mirror, but turned out to give me absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that Swamp Palace was amazing in that it just was so incredibly worthless in this particular seed.
Yeah, there were 6 chests there. There's supposed to be something there, but nope.
It was just all junk this time around.
It's all good, though. That was actually a fun one.
Mm-hmm. I found it personally very interesting that this was a Triforce hunt seed in which you were technically in go mode when it comes to if it were a regular seed instead.
Oh, trust me, I was kind of terrified there at the fact that I mirrored out after getting the 3rd item in Ice Palace, because I was looking at things and saying, oh, please don't tell me I'm going to have to go to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised you did, because you were really close to actually just being able to, get to Ganon's Tower. In fact, the only crystal you didn't have by the end there was the one from Ice Palace.
Yeah, that definitely was scaring me. I just was hoping, I was like, there's no way, especially if the fill algorithm blocks some of the spots in Ganon's Tower, there's no way there's 10 in there, or whatever the math ends up being.
I've been told it is theoretically possible to have 11, but it's very unlikely.
I'd believe it. As I said, just the odds are just so low to have that happen. Might have been easier though with this seed apparently compared to what we ran into.
Yeah.
There's also the possibility that some things are in Ganon's tower that lock other things, but yeah.
Yeah, well, the late book there, that might have, that did open up Bombos and Ether, so that would have at least been a couple of extra chests that I could, places I could have checked out, hoping to get a triangle off of one of them. The lovely, pedestal there turned out not to be a triangle. Just saw the effect that was a shield, but I'm almost about to do a blind pull of that too.
Yeah, I was personally expecting that if you didn't effectively finish in Palace of Darkness, that your next play was just going to be finishing Eastern Palace and then pulling the pedestal in the hopes of just finding a Triforce piece there.
Yeah, that was pretty much what it was going to be. Finish Eastern, take the green pendant over to Shamalama Ding Dong, hope that he gave me something, and then failing that, I think I was going to hit Pyramid and Catfish first and then run right to the pedestal.
Now, Fred, I do have to ask, do we need to start putting you on the Hyrulean terrorist watch list?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
I mean, leaving explosives lying around like that, you're going to get somebody hurt.
Well, I mean, if they gave me more useful stuff, they might not have had a present given back to them.
It was quite entertaining to watch that happen.
Oh, I'm glad. I was just trying to give everyone a good show, and hopefully everyone out there enjoyed.
It was very fun to watch you bomb basically everything.
Basically, my favorite one was when you went to go bomb Alec Baldwin.
I had to do that. I mean, he didn't give me anything there, so I had to do that.
That'll teach the seed.
Exactly.
That's how programming works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You just drop bombs and it goes to it bends to your will.
We'll convince them. Slowly but steadily, we will convince them.
So yeah. That was quite the show, and I enjoyed seeing, 2 races back to back. I gotta ask you, how much confusion did you have? Was there any sort of confusion like, oh, I checked this. No, that was last race. Hang on.
Well, I play on paper tracker, literally a notebook sitting in front of me. So there was definitely quite a bit of that I think there were at least a couple of times, oh, I should go here, and then, no, wait, I don't have that item, or things along those lines. So it definitely was a little bit confusing doing it back to back. I usually try to give myself a short break between them, but, in this case, I got 40 whole seconds or 50 seconds of the ROM loading on the EverDrive there. But yeah, it was definitely a little bit tougher. Fortunately, this one at least, I'm really lucky the fact that the pedestal part went fast, because then there wasn't as much stuff to forget. I think that was my one advantage on this seed.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was definitely a fun one. I enjoyed it. I'll probably be doing stuff like this again at some point here soon.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't surprise me if we revisit this format for races like these later.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun one to see people do, so hopefully we'll see that going forward.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody in chat reminds me, by the way, that you had a little bit of trouble doing that one statue push room in Skullwoods.
Oh gosh, that room, yes. Again, I think I went in there and that was actually a confusion one.
Yeah,
because
they wanted me to point out, by the way, that you had the Cane of Samaria at that time.
Oh, yeah. See, again, the confusion issue, because I assumed I had a fairy in a bottle, and I completely forgot I had the red cane, just because of the 2 seeds, because I got the fairy in the bottle in the first seed.
Yeah,
and there was the other fact that at that point you had the Bombos Medallion and the Magic Powder, which were the 2 items for Skullwoods.
Yeah, completely. I mismarked my notes as I was putting things down. I don't even know if I marked one on one side and then one on the other there, but yeah, just completely mismarked. I was a little confused when I dropped the key and I said, oh, I must have done something wrong there, and completely forgot, the fact that I'd gotten both of them. But put me closer to Ganon's tower. Yeah, that's it.
Yep, like I said, the idea of running seeds back to back can really just kind of mess with you.
Oh, definitely. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, it's an advantage to computer trackers. It's definitely an advantage to using something like that because it's a clean slate and you can look over and see what you got. So it's still definitely a fun format, but this is definitely you see a case where a computer tracker will help out a little bit in something like this.
Yeah, I do think it's part of the fun of the format.
Oh, absolutely.
These kinds of small mistakes can happen.
Oh yeah. All right, well, thank you guys so much. I'm probably going to cut out here, but thank you again for having the race and calling it. I'm looking forward to watching the replay of it and seeing just how horrendous the fun was for everyone.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah, thank you for being featured on the stream. By the way, it was very entertaining to watch you.
No problem. I'll try to have some fun with it. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
All right, so in the course of that interview, we have had Faraime finish in 7th place with a 2:35.34, Saberwolf 44 in 8th with a 2:37.53, and Slim Kirby with a 2:39.39 in 9th place. So 9 finishers, and we've got our 2 runners, gamercal and recitador, inside Turtle Rock.
And it actually looks like gamercal has a bit of an advantage right now because he's farther in Turtle Rock than recitador is, despite starting the seed significantly later.
Yep, recitador made a lot of lost a lot of time in Misery Mire with the death to Vitreous and some other unfortunate happenings there. And of course, going to clear out Swamp and all that mess. But everybody's cleared out Swamp.
Yep. Everybody spent the time there, and well, as mentioned, it's very surprising that Swamp actually didn't pay off at anything at all.
And we have our 10th place finisher from Maximum Barnage with 2:42.17. Right, so EpikRainjer is doing the Ice Palace bomb jump. You can see how that lines up. Our resolution's a little low. That looks a little low.
Nope. Tried the last second adjustment there too, but he didn't quite manage to make it to the proper spot.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, this is definitely it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I believe Santa Link is exactly the same as Link in terms of its proportions.
Mm-hmm.
I've started using the bottom of the shadow to track that instead of Link's hat, just so I can use different sprites.
I actually just consistently use the same different sprites, and I just use setups based on the proportions of that particular sprite instead, which is really confusing if I ever played a vanilla game again. Now I don't know the setups with Link anymore.
Alright, so gamercal decides to forego the Trinex fight. I find that to be a perfectly valid option.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since we know he's going to find a non-trivial amount of Triforce in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, I believe there were at least 2 found there, and he's already at 70 out of 20, so...
I feel like there were 3, because I think Fred went in with 16 and came out with 19.
You are definitely correct on that one. I do believe you are absolutely correct there.
So yeah, just a ton of Doritos in pod, but you gotta go to Turtle Rock first.
Yeah, this seed was very backloaded when it comes to them. It's kind of surprising.
We have had 2 more finishes. We've got Error in 11th place with a 2:42.50, and Edgeworth 12th place with a 2:43.20.
Yeah, and good games to them. Yeah, it looks like EpikRainjer has in the meantime picked up the fire rods. He will, of course, be continuing with the rest of Ice Palace. Won't get much as a reward for that, but that fire rod is very important for unlocking the rest of this seed.
Yes, without the fire rod, you are pretty much out of luck. Though not for the reasons you might generally expect.
We also have a 13th finisher with Katakahasa. Is that the name?
That sounds correct.
With a time of 2 hours, 45 minutes, and 29 seconds. And we've also got a 15th place finisher, Elminster, at 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 1 second.
Oh, so... Oh no, Big Dunka was in there with the snipe at 14th.
Ooh, yeah.
With 2:45.59, 2-second snipe on Elminster.
Yeah. Pretty good snipe.
So I expect gamercal to finish rather soon. Probably with the drop from Helmasaur.
EpikRainjer is actually opting to kill Colts there.
Yes, I believe gamercal also did the same.
Yeah, it does look like.
And so did recitador.
Yeah, it's interesting that of all the runners, fcoughlin was in fact, on stream at least, fcoughlin was the only one to skip Ice Palace's boss. He actually kind of regretted doing it from what we just heard.
Yep. But gamercal skipped Trinex, so there's that. Ooh, and gamercal with the expertly done hammer yump. Picking up that that Triforce piece in the big chest. He's going to find the Mexican combo platter in the west, in the dark maze here. The burrito and the plate of nachos.
And the compass, however that figures into things.
And gamercal, I assume he's going to pick up that Triforce piece here in a second.
Yeah, you will.
He's heading into the dark room first.
I'm seeing this again, you were definitely correct. He's going to pick up one more Triforce piece from that turtle room, and then if he kills Helmasaur, that's going to be his 20th piece.
Yep. I believe this will be a small key. Yes. And we will head to Helmasaur. Or maybe he hasn't done the vanilla big key chest. No, he's done that. It was the book, and he got it.
Yep. So he's about to finish.
So we see Recitador is going for the Trinex kill.
Again, can't really blame him. It brings him one step closer to completing the pedestal.
He's actually on 18 Triforce pieces, it looks like, so he will be able to, once he finally gets to pod, just pick up the 2 outside in the chest and be done.
It's interesting. I wonder what one he picks up extra that gamercal did not.
I don't remember what was on Hobo for this seed. I know he had 300 rupees in the first seed.
I think it might have been bomb capacity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Master Sword Logic Break. What are you talking about there? Graveyard Ledge had the Dorito.
Oh, I believe Dragon Master is referring to the fact that Cal actually ended up checking a lot of locations that logically shouldn't have been available at all, but I believe with how late he found the mirror, that wasn't apparent to him.
Oh.
Like, he spent a lot of
The
time
logic
looking
break
for
in the
mirror.
first seed, yeah. And we see gamercal about to finish. And there it is. He finishes with an official SRL time of 2:50.09. So one thing we can say about these particular modes, the Master Sword Pedestal and the Triforce Hunt modes, is while they do require the same amount of knowledge about the game to really get done, there does tend to be quite a bit more variance. Hey, hello, how you doing?
Hello. And congratulations on sitting through that interesting little stuff. I imagine you weren't too pleased about the results of the Master Sword Pedestal suit in particular. I guess not, considering he just left.
I think he's may have been having some technical difficulties, but we'll figure it out. Hello, gamercal, how you doing?
We in now?
I hear you.
Okay, good. Discord has this weird thing whenever I have my headset plugged in and it just doesn't want to work unless I restart it, so I keep forgetting about that. Sorry about that.
Okay. I was just mentioning that you probably weren't pleased about how the Master Sword Pedestal suit went.
I played myself so hard on that one because it's like I didn't realize until like 20 minutes after I was faffing around that wait, the Palace of Darkness was bow locked, which means that anything that came out of there can't have flippers. What was in there again? Like the book, which led to the mids, which, oh my god, okay.
Right.
It had the book, it had the book for the mids for Desert Palace, and the flute both in Palace of Darkness, as I recall.
Yeah, there were a lot of our runners on stream did not quite realize that Pod was bow locked, and therefore could not have anything you needed, right? The only thing at that point that you could have been looking for was the flippers. Though I guess you didn't have the mirror and the lamp from Skull Woods at that point.
Yeah. So,
everybody else did.
Of course. I think.
Yeah, most people. The other 3 people we saw just went for the immediate Skull Woods play, as people are wont to do.
That's probably the most sensible thing, but I was looking more at, highest density areas for this. I don't know, this is what happens when I don't do that, though, because I do that sort of play literally every time, and I often lose the races just because I play too safe, but as soon as I don't, this is what happens. So,
it's typical how it always goes that way.
So that's the thing with these particular modes. They're a little higher variance.
Yeah, there's no skill involved in these modes. I'm sorry if people disagree, but there's no skill involved in either of these modes, I don't think.
I wouldn't say no skill, but it's definitely reduced. There is a lot more luck involved in what you get done.
There's a little bit more in the pedestal, to be fair, but in general, unless you get a really horrible pendant like Turtle Rock or something, I don't know. Because when you think about how many items were needed for this, we needed Moonpearl, Hookshot Hammer, Flippers, Mirror, Bow. That was it. There was, I guess you'd need the glove to get in as well, but only one of them. There's hardly anything that you would need there, but most of those you could get just about anywhere. So it's tough. I don't know, but I'm not convinced on the Triforce hunt in the slightest. Like, this is not the first one I've played, but it's not. I don't play this mode that often, but every single one of them I've seen, it just doesn't to lend itself that well to race formats. I don't think. But hey.
Yeah, you. I think the one tomorrow may be more your speed, as it's a Triforce hunt seed, but there's 31 pieces, and you have to get 30 of them.
That's just beat the game, though. Really, let's be honest.
That is in fact, rando 100%.
Yeah, that is basically all dungeons, just not with Kilgannon. That's essentially what that is. There's no way that you're going to be able to avoid Gannon's Tower. There's no way you're going to be able to avoid doing all the pendant dungeon stuff. You are basically, as you say, 100%ing the seed. Which, okay, there is some reasonable stuff to that, but as well, what do I do the stuff in? That can be interesting, but I don't know. I can't really be like too mad at anything with these, because if you take this sort of mode seriously, I think there's something to be honest. But
I mean, that's why this is sort of a casual event of we're all just having fun here, and it looks like Recitador has finished as well.
Nice.
We can see if we can talk to him.
I still did some cool stuff though, so I'm not like completely upset with things. I think that Vitreous was pretty good. Just the combination of the sword spins and the bomb stuff was kind of cool.
Yeah, the Vitreous in your Master Sword, the seed in particular, was pretty impressive.
Yeah, because of course, the one time I don't do Spiral Cave, it has something that I could have used, but you know.
Like you do.
I found the Tempered Sword. I actually wasn't intending on skipping it, but it was more just a case of, well, I wanted to do Tower Hera because I still figured that dungeons would be the better thing to do first, because this is still V27 after all. So I was like, let's do that first, and then when I heard it was a pendant, I said, okay, to go back and check it's not green pendant, just in case. It wasn't, so it took a big sort of, I guess, time risk on doing Moldorm and stuff there, and it didn't pay out, so I was like, well, I can't really justify going back up and around now, so left it at that point, and then Arcworld Death Mountain came up and got like, oh, okay, whoops.
On that note, it was interesting to you, instead of picking up the crystal, just falling down the Tower of Hera. We were actually talking about, I'm actually not certain if that's quicker or not, but I do appreciate the disrespecting of the crystal.
It probably isn't, but it was blue pendant, so it's like, that's to you, you're staying up there.
So, it looks like we are joined in the chat again by Recitador, or however they want to pronounce it.
You can say however you want.
Yeah, good game.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was interesting. That first seed, I should have finished that a little faster. I think I was having some like restream jitters or something.
Yeah, you got a little trolled by the sequence breaking. You know what I mean?
You too.
Oh yeah, like if you can believe it, I did pod thinking I was in go mode, and the only reason I full cleared it is because since I had the bow, I decided to go right and completely spaced on that first chest.
Oh.
And then I got to swamp, and I even avoided the little lake up by the portal, and then I got to swamp Amir, and then I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, there was that. I know we had some Argus trouble at one point. That might have been the second race.
I'm not used to doing Argus with low hearts that much usually, or without any equipment whatsoever, so it was punishing me a little bit.
Yeah, menu boss is always fun.
Looks like our final race run stream has also finished the seeds. EpikRainjer finished with a time of 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 35 seconds.
Well done.
And I was just collecting crystals in the second part because I was thinking if I have to do something stupid like go in a GT, then I should just grab these.
That was my sort of philosophy on the second one as well. Like, if in the Triforce one as well. I may as well just get this. Like, I got the Fire Rod as the third item in Ice Palace. Well, I'm not too far away. Let's just kill Cold Star anyway. It's if I need the crystals, chances are I'll just get them and go anyway. I think I was only about 1 crystal away by the end of it, actually.
Yep. We had several runners that were 1 crystal away. Fred was 1 crystal away, but it was Ice Palace.
Okay, yep.
I didn't even check the map the second time around. I was just like, I'm gonna do whatever. I'm gonna go wherever I need to and beat whoever I need to, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Seems like an entirely legitimate strategy.
That's definitely how I usually play Triforce Hunt as well.
It just makes it harder on our trackers.
Yeah, the only reason I checked the map, the second one at all, was when I heard Tower of Hera had the pendant music, and I was like, I can finish this, but I want to know what the pendant is first, just in case I get the last item on the way up before getting to Moldorm. So I just briefly left and checked the map then to see what color it was, and it wasn't green, so it stayed up on top of the tower.
I actually had that problem yesterday with the all dungeons. I was tracking for that, and the top 2 that I was tracking did not care about their map at all.
Yeah, if you're having to beat all the dungeons anyway, you generally don't bother.
Yeah, it's just like, you're gonna have to do them all anyway, so you might as well just do them when you can do them.
Yep.
The only slight things is that there might be something in the Pyramid Fairy or its Azrael, I guess, but...
And it looks like we are joined by our final featured runner today, EpikRainjer. GG, EpikRainjer.
Yeah, GG.
Looks like you are muted. There we go.
GG's.
Ah, there you are. Well played, sir. Well played.
I don't know. I got kind of tilted after I thought I flooded the key in Swamp. I really
Whoops.
did. And that just messed up my whole game.
Of course,
Yeah.
Swamp Palace was a weird place anyway, with so many possible locations that could have had Triforce pieces and just there being absolutely nothing at all in there.
So annoying.
Swamp Palace was a load of garbage, and everybody did it as soon as they could.
As you would. It's a high density area, and it is a dungeon, so
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled about that at all.
Yeah, I really don't like Swamp, at all.
Yeah, it's not a dungeon you like to do, to clear out. And if you're playing Triforce Hunt mode, that's what you're doing. You're clearing things out.
Yeah, that's actually pretty tiring. I'm surprised.
Yep.
I mean, in the end, you did end up with nearly 3 hours of just playing this game in a row, and that's very fatiguing, just mentally.
So I want to ask you guys all about a thing I asked Fred a little while ago. What's it like to play 2 seeds back to back like this? How confused did you get in the middle about, oh, did I check this thing? Oh, wait, no, that was last time, blah, 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 etc.
For me personally, it wasn't that bad. There was only one minor thing. It was like, wait, did I get powder in this one yet? For the second one? Because I thought I had, but I hadn't checked the stuff a bit, so I think it was around about in town going, yeah, okay, I do have the powder, let's do stuff with that. But other than that, I guess I just played so many of these that it just worked out. I don't know. I don't think there was any point where I forgot something because I'd done it in the previous seed. So yeah, I don't know. I was happy with that bit.
I didn't really get confused, but I mean, in the first seed, I really didn't check a lot, so...
There's that, yeah.
Oh, stuff started to blend together. I totally forgot Hype Cave and a lot more other stuff. I was getting confused.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying it you got to give these runners some credit, because it's a very difficult thing to keep everything straight in your head if you're doing two runs back to back.
I think if it was two of the same type of run, I'd have been a lot more confused though. Like if it was just two straight opens back to back, or like Key Sanity especially, I think that would get very, very confusing. But with these being very distinctive goals, it didn't really confuse me that much this time.
Yeah, so I guess we'll shout out to the to the race organizers for making sure that we had two modes that kind of complemented each other, and also that they were both intended to be, fairly quick.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, the Triforce
It could have been worse.
the Triforce Hunt mode was definitely pretty slow by the standards of that mode, but the Pedestal was potentially quick, so long as you didn't get hugely sidetracked.
Yeah, the Pedestal should have been sub-hour, I think.
fcoughlin, the other runner we had on stream, actually did finish it sub-hour, but...
That makes sense.
Yeah, I should have, but the end of it, it was hot garbage. I was screwing up left and right.
Yeah, that happens.
I guess the Triforce Hunt one, you could have probably... I mean, obviously Jet must have done it in like an hour 20 or something, but I guess you could have probably done that an hour 50, hour 20 if you just went to the right dungeons instead of apparently not.
This was a Triforce Hunt seat that was very much defined by how much did you dive dungeons, because that was definitely the play to finish this one quickly.
So I've always been told, just by people who are better at the logic than me, that if you have the option to do ice and swamp, do ice first. Because swamp tends to be lower value, but that just could be open mode. I don't know.
That's interesting. If I do ice first, it's usually just because I'm very confident with my route around that dungeon. Although the last few seeds have been stuck with that, just not getting smoke keys anywhere useful. But usually, yeah, if I'm gonna do ice first, it's solely because I feel like I can do that dungeon faster than average. But yeah,
I do think there's some factor in that's in Ice Palace you don't like Go mode. Ice Palace is noticeably quicker than non-Go mode Ice Palace, but it isn't quite as slow in comparison as fully clearing Swamp is. So I think that's where it might be coming from.
Yeah, I get that makes sense. Especially if you're not a crazy person who just gambles on left side having in Swamp, as I am allowed to do, because as soon as I do, there is something over there.
Yeah, I think it must be the left side factor more than anything. I mean, those are the two dungeons that are super nice in Go mode, though. I love doing those in Go mode, but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
All right, so is there anything else that our runners would like to say to the public before we wrap this up?
Play these modes without racing, I think.
Yeah,
these are good
sure.
modes, just don't race them, because you'll get upset.
Thanks for watching, thanks for restreaming me, and sorry, I'm bad.
Oh, don't worry, I was bad this one too.
Yeah.
Everyone is bad.
Don't you worry about it. You guys all put on a good show.
And I don't think anyone here was actually bad.
Well, you're really kind. Thank you.
There's a difference between bad and bad. Like, if someone... Most of the people who are watching this probably could not pick this up and do what you did today. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know, I did fall into a Moldon twice, so pretty sure most people could pick that bit up.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Well, I'll take your Moldorm falls instead of me dying to Argus choice.
That's fair. I did die to Argus at least. I did fail a death warp at one point in first seed though, because I picked up a fairy at some point, and then I forgot that I picked one in the bottle as well. So I released the one that I picked up with the bug net, but I didn't remember that there was one in the bottle. So yeah. I ended up getting revived anyway. That's Everybody's got to do it on Restream once, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
That was in Saha's Royalist's closet, I believe, was where that fairy was.
Yeah, no, it's not a proper race unless... Oh, it's not a prop. You've not been properly restrained until you've had that happen.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you to all of our runners for showing off your skills today, and your luck, or lack thereof, depending on how it's going. And thank you very much for letting us restream you. I want to thank our restreamer, Feasel, running the show today, for putting this together, and the organizers for the Speed Gaming Daily Race series. Also, I'd like to thank our two trackers, JTN and B-Links, for keeping up with all the action today. A lot more than I did. And, of course, to my co-commentator, Dude.
Yeah, and I would also like to thank Dr. Baptastic for a fantastic time and doing a significantly better job on commentary than I'd have to do.
I do not know what you are talking about. But yes, Dude, once again, congratulations on reaching the semifinals of the secondary tournament. You'll be playing in the bronze match soon, I think.
Yeah,
next week.
That's going to be actually it's actually going to be this weekend and possibly Tuesday for the treatment races.
Right. So also later today we have 2 more races in the Link to the Past Daily Race series. We have a Key Sanity race starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, and an open mode race starting at 11. Now, for those of you who are interested in that, you can join. Anybody can join. It can be... you just need to get yourself set up on Speedruns Live. There's an IRC channel and some other stuff you can do. But if you go to speedrunslive.com, you can set yourself up with that. There's a lot of nice instructions there to do that. You will want to be able to stream that, so you want to set up your Twitch channel to do that as well. But it will be, it's open to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I recommend it, to be honest.
I definitely recommend it. It's a very good way to get into this.
Also, don't be intimidated by Key Sanity, because it's fun. Even if you're going to lose.
Yeah, and it's not as bad as it seems to be, really.
Just be careful of powers of darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to waste your keys in pod. There are 6 keys to pod, and you can actually finish it with only 5 if you have the bow, and 4 if you know how to hammer jump.
And there's that one chest in Turtle Rock. Don't be fooled by the fact that it had the bow this time.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Some legendary item placements in this seed, I've got to say.
Yeah. We also had the Fire Rod and Ice Palace again, so that's also fun.
This Remire with the mirror.
Yeah, on Vitreous.
Doesn't matter what mode you play, Ice Rod is always in Turtle Rock.
That's how that works, correct.
Doesn't matter what you're playing. Yeah, there was some really, really interesting boots on blind as well. That was quite interesting.
Thieves Town was just generally loaded, it seemed like.
All right, so
anyway, yeah, we should be wrapping things up at this point. So with that, I've been the Dude, and it's been a pleasure.
And I wanted to say, if you like anything you saw here and you are interested in supporting the channel or any of our runners, just be nice to give them a follow, and I think we'd all appreciate it. And so with that, I have been Dr. Bobtastic, and Dude gave his sign off a second ago. And so I'll see you later. And Dude will as well.